Wealth is built twice, first in the mind, and then in the world. All things visible were once invisible. Every fortune, every opportunity, every open door began as a thought held steadily, faithfully, and without fear. Life is not responding to our wishes, it is responding to our convictions. The subconscious mind accepts what it is impressed with, and it sets the unseen forces of the universe into motion to bring that belief into form. Therefore, one who continually speaks lack, limitation, or struggle is laying a mental foundation that cannot produce abundance, no matter how hard they labor. But when one dares to claim prosperity as a divine right, when one speaks words of increase with calm expectancy, the law is immediately set into action. For the word is the wand, and spoken with faith, it shapes circumstances, attracts supply, and opens channels where none appeared to exist. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared to receive. And preparation begins in consciousness. The outer world is only the echo of inner belief. Today, we begin where all wealth must begin, in the mind aligned with truth, expectancy, and divine order. For when the mental pattern is corrected, the visible structure must follow, swiftly, surely, and in perfect ways. Wealth is not something pursued in the outer world, and then hoped for inwardly. It is first accepted inwardly, and then allowed to appear outwardly. Consciousness always precedes creation. Before there can be a change in income, opportunity, or circumstance, there must be a change in the mental atmosphere in which one lives. Life takes its orders from thought. It is never confused, never delayed, and never mistaken. It simply reproduces the pattern it is given. Many people attempt to build wealth through effort alone, believing that longer hours, greater strain, or constant vigilance will produce prosperity. Yet effort without alignment only multiplies fatigue. The mind that expects struggle will find it, even in success. The mind that expects limitation will encounter invisible ceilings, no matter how wide the door appears. This is because the outer condition is only the mirror of the inner assumption. When the consciousness is trained to expect good as natural and supply as inevitable, circumstances reorganize with surprising ease, ideas arrive unforced, connections appear without manipulation, opportunities present themselves at precisely the moment they are needed. This is not coincidence, it is law. The mind impressed with abundance becomes a magnet for channels of increase. Consider the individual who carries an inner belief that money is difficult to obtain. Even when opportunity knocks, hesitation arises. Fear disguises itself as logic. Delay is justified as prudence. In time, the opportunity passes, confirming the original belief. Contrast this with one who holds an inner conviction that provision is assured. That individual moves with calm assurance, not reckless but receptive. Decisions are made without panic. Action flows naturally from belief, and results follow with less resistance. This is why wealth cannot be sustained if it is acquired before consciousness is prepared to hold it. Sudden gains dissolve when the inner structure is untrained, just as water escapes a vessel that has not been properly formed. Consciousness is the container. When it is expanded, supply fills it without strain. The work, then, is not to force results but to discipline thought, to refuse the mental habits of lack, to deny fear the authority to dictate expectation, to assume, quietly and firmly, that there is always more than enough and that the means of supply are already arranged, even if unseen. The unseen is not absent. It is simply awaiting recognition. An individual once burdened by debt may begin this work by refusing to rehearse numbers with anxiety. Instead, they affirm order, clarity, and act responsibly, but without dread. Gradually, new solutions emerge: unexpected income, restructured obligations, or inspired ideas that alter the entire situation. The outer change follows the inner correction. This is not imagination, it is alignment. Thought aligned with truth becomes directive power. When consciousness shifts, effort becomes effective rather than exhausting. Wealth, then, is no longer something chased, defended, or feared. It becomes the natural outcome of a mind that has accepted abundance as its rightful state. Once consciousness has been impressed with expectancy, it must be sustained and shaped through speech. Words are not idle sounds, they are formative forces. Every word spoken is a direction given to life, a command issued to the subconscious, which then sets about fulfilling it with precision. Whether spoken aloud or silently affirmed, language is continually building or dismantling one's financial structure. Many unknowingly undermine their own prosperity through habitual speech. They speak of money as something that disappears quickly, as something never sufficient, as something earned only through sacrifice. These statements may seem casual or humorous, yet the subconscious mind records them faithfully and accepts them as instruction. Life responds accordingly, arranging circumstances that echo those very declarations. It is not punishment, it is obedience to law. Right speech does not deny reality, nor does it attempt to force outcomes. It replaces complaint with command, fear with affirmation, and uncertainty with expectancy. When one consistently speaks words of increase, order, and sufficiency, the subconscious is impressed with a new blueprint. From that blueprint, new conditions must arise. The outer world cannot contradict the dominant inner word. There is a marked difference between hope, filled language, and faith, filled language. Hope speaks of the future with uncertainty. Faith speaks of the present with calm authority. Saying, "I hope things improve," leaves the matter unresolved. Saying, "I am guided to right action and steady supply," establishes direction. The subconscious responds not to emotional intensity, but to clarity and repetition. An individual may work diligently and still experience instability because their words quietly counteract their efforts. They may say, "I earn well, but something always comes up," or "money never stays." These phrases, repeated over time, become laws in their personal experience. The remedy is not silence, but correction. Speech must be brought into alignment with the desired outcome before results can stabilize. When speech changes, behavior follows naturally. A person who affirms order begins to act with greater organization. One who declares sufficiency becomes less reactive, less driven by urgency. Decisions improve because fear no longer dominates the inner dialogue. Opportunities that were previously overlooked become visible because attention is no longer consumed by anxiety. There is power in deliberate declaration spoken without strain. Words spoken calmly, without pleading or emotional excess, carry authority. They impress the subconscious as settled truth rather than desperate wish. Over time, these declarations alter self-concept, and self-concept governs financial behavior more than strategy ever could. For example, one who repeatedly affirms that they are guided to wise use of money often finds wasteful habits falling away without force. They begin attracting counsel, information, or systems that support stability. The speech initiates the shift. The world responds with form. Speech is the bridge between thought and manifestation. Thought conceived wealth. Speech gives it structure. When words are disciplined, consistent, and aligned with abundance, they become the architects of experience. Through them, the invisible pattern is steadily translated into visible results. Not through strain, but through law operating as it was designed to do. As these words are spoken and repeated, they are received by the deeper mind. And it is here that the real work is carried out. The subconscious mind does not analyze, debate, or question. It accepts what is impressed upon it as fact and proceeds to execute those instructions with unwavering loyalty. It is indifferent to whether the belief serves or hinders. It simply fulfills. Many believe they desire wealth, yet they secretly impress the subconscious with images of risk, loss, or unworthiness. The conscious mind may speak affirmations, but the deeper mind responds to the dominant impression, the emotionalized belief that has been rehearsed over time. This is why inconsistent results often follow sincere effort. Desire alone has no authority, belief does. The subconscious responds most powerfully to repetition and feeling. A thought entertained briefly has little effect, but a belief returned to daily becomes law. When one repeatedly anticipates difficulty, the subconscious arranges delays. When one expects rejection, it produces missed connections. When one assumes opportunity is scarce, it faithfully filters perception to confirm that assumption. The mind is not hostile, it is precise. To work with this law, one must become conscious of the inner pictures being held. What is imagined when finances are considered? Is there tension, urgency, or quiet assurance? The subconscious acts on images as readily as on words. If the inner image is one of struggle, no amount of outward planning will override it. But when the inner picture shifts to order and sufficiency, action becomes effective rather than frantic. This is why mental rehearsal is so potent. When the subconscious is accustomed to seeing success as normal, it begins to guide behavior toward that outcome. Intuition sharpens. Timing improves. The right ideas rise to the surface without force. The individual may feel they are simply following impulses, unaware that the subconscious has already arranged the sequence. Consider the difference between one who believes money arrives unpredictably and one who believes supply is orderly. The first lives in cycles of feast and famine, constantly reacting. The second approaches decisions with steadiness. They do not rush from fear nor hesitate from doubt. The same external conditions may exist for both, yet outcomes differ, because the internal command differs. It is important to understand that the subconscious does not respond to strain. Anxiety weakens impression. Calm expectancy strengthens it. When affirmations are spoken with tension, they imply doubt. When they are spoken with quiet certainty, they are accepted as settled truth. The tone matters as much as the words. Over time, the subconscious, trained mind begins to anticipate success rather than failure. This anticipation alters posture, communication, and choice. Others respond differently, sensing confidence without bravado. Opportunities emerge that could not be accessed before, not because the world changed, but because perception expanded. One may notice that problems resolve themselves with less effort than before. This is not passivity. It is cooperation with inner intelligence. The subconscious, once aligned with abundance, works continuously, even while the conscious mind is occupied elsewhere. It connects, protects, and directs. When belief replaces wishing, wealth ceases to feel accidental. It becomes consistent, predictable, and appropriate. The subconscious, faithfully executing belief, ensures that results match the inner program. Thus, mastery of wealth is never about forcing outcomes, but about training the mind that produces them. As belief becomes established, there remains one subtle obstacle that must be removed for supply to move freely, and that obstacle is resistance. Resistance appears in many forms: anxiety about timing, insistence on method, fear of loss, or the constant mental effort to manage outcomes. While often mistaken for responsibility, resistance is simply mistrust expressed through tension. It signals to the subconscious that supply is uncertain and must be controlled. The moment one begins to strain, the flow is interrupted. Not because opportunity disappears, but because perception narrows. The mind preoccupied with guarding, forcing, or anticipating trouble cannot remain receptive. It overlooks openings, misjudges timing, and exhausts itself attempting to secure what is already prepared. Life responds not to pressure, but to expectancy. There is a natural order through which supply arrives. It moves through channels that are often indirect and unexpected. When one insists that abundance must come from a specific source, person, or circumstance, that insistence becomes a barrier. The subconscious, having been given conflicting instructions, trust and fear at once, cannot execute smoothly. Release restores coherence. Releasing resistance does not mean abandoning discernment or action. It means acting without inner conflict. It is the difference between disciplined movement and anxious effort. When fear is absent, action becomes precise rather than excessive. One does what is required and then allows law to complete the process. Many delay their own good by continually revisiting the same concern. They check, recheck, calculate, and rehearse worst-case scenarios, believing vigilance ensures safety. In truth, this mental rehearsal keeps the subconscious occupied with preservation rather than expansion. What is held in attention is what is multiplied. When one learns to replace worry with calm assumption, circumstances begin to resolve with less interference. Delays shorten. Complications simplify. Assistance appears without being demanded. This is not passivity, it is alignment. The subconscious, once freed from fear-based commands, coordinates events efficiently. Consider the individual who releases the need to know every step in advance. They take the next indicated action and trust the unfolding. Such a person often experiences timely introductions, fortuitous information, or solutions that could not have been planned. The absence of resistance allows intelligence, greater than the conscious mind, to operate. Resistance also dissolves when one relinquishes the belief that struggle is necessary for worthiness. Many unconsciously believe that ease invalidates success. As long as this belief remains, ease will feel unsafe, and the subconscious will reintroduce obstacles to justify effort. When this pattern is recognized and denied authority, flow replaces friction. Calm expectancy is a discipline. It requires refusing to entertain fear, even when evidence is incomplete. It means resting in the assumption that what is rightly yours cannot be withheld, missed, or misplaced. This assumption does not produce complacency, it produces steadiness. As resistance falls away, wealth no longer arrives in bursts followed by contraction. It begins to move with rhythm and continuity. One feels less urgency and more confidence, less pressure and more clarity. Supply ceases to feel fragile. It becomes dependable. In this state, the individual is no longer blocking their own good. They are no longer attempting to outthink life. They are cooperating with it. And in that cooperation, abundance moves with greater speed and less effort, fulfilling the pattern already established in consciousness. Once resistance has been released and the subconscious mind is faithfully executing belief, the next and final principle is alignment. Alignment is the measure of whether wealth, once attracted, can be sustained. It is not enough to receive abundance. One must hold it in right relation to purpose, integrity, and gratitude. Outer wealth always mirrors inner harmony, and without such harmony, what arrives is often fleeting. Sustained prosperity requires a mind and heart attuned to law. Integrity in thought, word, and action creates a stable vessel for supply. When one acts in ways that contradict inner principles, taking shortcuts, engaging in dishonesty, or attempting to manipulate, discord is impressed upon the subconscious, and supply becomes irregular. True wealth is never acquired at the expense of inner law. It is a natural extension of it. Gratitude, another essential element of alignment. Recognition of provision, even before it fully manifests, signals to the subconscious that the mind is receptive rather than desperate. Appreciation, spoken or felt inwardly, magnifies the feeling of abundance, reinforcing the mental pattern that sustains wealth. Without gratitude, the mind remains focused on scarcity and reinforces limitations. Purpose also determines the direction and quality of prosperity. Wealth attracted without clarity of purpose may appear, but it often disperses in unproductive or unsatisfying ways. When abundance is aligned with meaningful action, it multiplies not merely in quantity, but in value, creating opportunities, influence, and impact that endure. The conscious mind must continuously check that financial gain is advancing not only comfort, but constructive service, contribution, and personal growth. Sustainability is further strengthened through disciplined stewardship. The individual who organizes resources thoughtfully, budgets intelligently, and invests with foresight impresses the subconscious with stability. The law then sees a mind ready to receive, a vessel properly prepared, and it continues to deliver. Chaos and impulsiveness, however, signal unpreparedness, and even great influxes of wealth dissipate quickly. The essence of alignment is consistency between inner conviction and outer behavior. Thought, word, and action must harmonize. When this occurs, wealth flows naturally, opportunities appear reliably, and challenges are met with confidence rather than anxiety. Alignment transforms abundance from a temporary gain into a lasting condition. Even small daily adjustments strengthen this principle. Speaking with honesty, choosing actions with integrity, and cultivating gratitude tune the mind to the frequency of continuous supply. Wealth ceases to be a struggle or a surprise. It becomes an expected, natural outcome of a life lived in accordance with universal law. Ultimately, alignment ensures that the wealth built first in the mind is mirrored fully and accurately in the world. It is the final bridge between inner conviction and outward reality, completing the cycle of creation and manifestation. With alignment, abundance is no longer accidental or temporary. It is natural, rightful, and enduring. I am a magnet for divine abundance, and prosperity flows to me effortlessly. I release all fear, doubt, and resistance, knowing the supply of life is constant and unlimited. I speak words of increase and order, and my subconscious mind brings them into perfect manifestation. I am aligned with purpose, integrity, and gratitude, and my wealth is stable, growing, and sustainable. I expect good in every area of my life, and opportunities appear to me with ease and grace. I am worthy of all that I desire, and I receive it now in perfect ways. I trust the unseen forces of life to guide me, and I act with clarity and confidence. I am open to new channels of income, and new ideas, and new ways to expand my abundance. I hold wealth without fear, use it wisely, and share it joyfully, creating prosperity that endures. I am the architect of my financial destiny, and every thought, word, and action builds my lasting abundance.
Your word is your wand, and today you will learn to use it, not for luck, but for law. This is not a lesson in wishful thinking. It is an initiation into the sacred science of alignment, a deep remembering of a power you have always possessed, but were taught to forget. Stay with me, friend, for before our time together ends, you will hold a divine decree and a daily practice that will fundamentally change not only how you play the game of life, but how you receive its infinite rewards. What if that deep, persistent desire for abundance, the dream of a lottery win that could change everything, was not a fantasy to be chased, but a memory to be reclaimed? What if that small paper ticket you hold in your hand was not a game of chance, but a divine appointment with a reality that already belongs to you, waiting patiently in the invisible for your recognition? The world has taught you a story of scarcity, a fairy tale of random luck designed to keep you small, to keep you hoping, to keep you waiting for a miracle that exists outside of you. Today, we turn away from that noise. We reclaim the truth. The transformation you seek does not begin when the winning numbers are called on a television screen. The transformation begins now, in the quiet, sacred chambers of your own consciousness. Let us begin with the foundational stone upon which all prosperous and miraculous lives are built. The universe is not a chaotic accident. It is a masterpiece of divine order, governed by a perfect, impersonal, and deeply loving law. As the great spiritual teacher Florence Scovel Shinn taught, life is not a battle. It is a game. A game, however, that cannot be played successfully without the knowledge of its fundamental rule. That rule is the law of belief. The universe does not give you what you want with your fleeting thoughts. It gives you what you are in your deepest conviction. It is a perfect mirror reflecting back to you the unwavering truth you hold in the very center of your heart. Consider this: there is no lack in the divine mind, the great, infinite intelligence from which all things are born. There is only an endless, overflowing, inexhaustible supply of every good thing imaginable. The oceans do not ration their waves upon the shore. Scarcity is a purely human invention, a painful shadow cast by a mind that has been hypnotized into believing it is separate from its source. The ancient scriptures gave us a precise technical manual for creation when they stated, "Ask, and it shall be given you." This is not a poetic platitude. It is a statement of cosmic physics. It reveals a universe that is forever yielding, forever responding, forever waiting for the clear, unwavering signal of your belief. The problem, you see, has never been a lack of supply in the universe. The problem has been a lack of conscious, aligned, and expectant demand from humanity. You were created from abundance, for abundance. Prosperity is not something you must struggle to earn or prove you deserve. It is your divine birthright, the very essence of your spiritual DNA. When you finally align with this profound truth, when you allow it to saturate every cell and fiber of your being, your good must come to you. It has no other choice. The lottery is but one tiny possible stream flowing from this infinite ocean of supply. It is not the source. The source is the law itself and your alignment with it. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. Now, let us speak of the inner world, that sacred silent space where all creation begins. I know the voice that whispers in the hollow of the night, the cold dread that clutches your heart when you think of the bills on the counter. It is the voice that mocks your grandest dreams, saying, "Who are you to dream of such things? Be realistic." It is the slow burn of shame as you scroll, the feeling of being impossibly behind. This feeling is not your fault. It is a program, a ghost inherited from generations who knew nothing but the consciousness of survival. This voice of lack is a powerful hypnotist, convincing you that the physical world is the only reality. But here is the truth that will set you free. The outer world is always, and without exception, a lagging indicator of your inner state. If your past beliefs created your present reality, then your present beliefs are, right now, creating your future. The power has been in your hands all along. Imagine you have been living your entire life in a magnificent, sprawling mansion with 1,000 light switches, but you have only ever known one room, a small, dark, dimly lit closet. You believe this tiny closet is the entire house. It never occurs to you to simply stand up, turn the knob, walk out of the door, and begin, one by one, flipping the switches. Your limiting beliefs about money are that closet. Today, you are stepping out of the door. And now, we will learn how to illuminate the magnificent mansion of your life. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. This brings us to the sacred workshop of the soul, the place where the unseen is woven into the seen. In the invisible realm, there exists a perfect pattern for everything you could ever desire. There is a divine blueprint for the healed body, the loving relationship, and yes, the specific lottery win that changes everything for your highest good. This pattern is not something you must create. It already exists. Your work is not to build it, but to align with it. The instrument of this divine attunement is your imagination. Your imagination is not a frivolous faculty for daydreaming. It is the workshop of God. As the ancient texts so wisely remind us, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. This thinking is a deep, immersive, feeling-filled imagining. When you can feel the reality of your good in the very marrow of your bones, you are no longer asking for it, you are claiming it. Consider the often cited story of Cynthia Stafford. In 2007, she won a staggering $112 million lottery jackpot. For months beforehand, she did not just idly hope to win, she decided to. She made it her daily practice to feel what it was like to be a woman of such means. She immersed herself in the expansive freedom and the deep, calming peace of having already won. When the winning ticket was finally in her hand, it was not a coincidence. It was a coronation. It was the physical world finally catching up to the unwavering truth she had so diligently established within her soul. Let us take a moment right now to engage in this sacred practice. Close your eyes for just a moment. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, release the day. Now, I want you to feel one single sensation of freedom, just one. Perhaps it's the feeling of your shoulders dropping, releasing a weight you have carried for years. Perhaps it is the warmth of joy spreading through your chest. Find that one specific feeling. Linger there. Lock it into the memory of your body. That feeling is the frequency of your truth. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. Now we must turn to the question of the numbers themselves. In the divine economy, there is no such thing as chance. There is only law, order, and perfect benevolent intelligence. That same infinite intelligence is the higher dimension of your own consciousness. This is a spiritual science. You have access to all knowledge, and you access it through your intuition, the whisper of the divine speaking directly to you. The key is to quiet the loud, analytical voice of the ego and amplify your receptivity to the gentle voice of the spirit. The practice is simple. First, create a sanctuary of silence. Let your mind become a calm, clear lake. Second, make your request not with desperation, but with calm authority. Speak it silently in your heart. Divine intelligence, reveal to me the perfect numbers for my highest good. I am open and receptive now. Third, pay attention. The numbers may appear as images in your mind, or as synchronicities you see repeated throughout your day. Finally, when these impressions come, write them down immediately, without judgment. You are not making up numbers. You are receiving them. As you engage with this, play with wisdom. This is spiritual alignment, not a financial plan. Your true power is in your consciousness, not in a piece of paper. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. This brings us to a principle of profound grace, the wisdom of divine timing. In the divine orchestra of creation, timing is an instrument of exquisite precision. The mastery of manifestation lies in the art of active patience, the unwavering conviction that your good is certain, combined with the peaceful acceptance of its unfolding in its own perfect time. So many people plant the seed of their desire and then dig it up every day to see if it's growing. They give up moments before the dawn. The ancient farmer knew this law intimately. He would prepare the soil, plant the seed, and tend to the field with faith. He did not stand over the soil shouting for the corn to grow faster. He trusted the process. He knew there was a season for planting and a season for harvest, and he aligned his actions with that divine rhythm. You must become that wise farmer of your own consciousness. Trust that when you have established the pattern in the invisible, the manifestation must appear in its own perfect season. You can learn to discern this timing. In your quiet, receptive state, a certain day may feel hot or significant. At the same time, you must release all anxiety about the when. Desperation repels. Peaceful certainty attracts. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. Now we arrive at a tool of immense and focused power, the prosperity decree. This is not a gentle affirmation. It is a formal, authoritative declaration of truth. An affirmation hopes to change your thinking. A decree establishes your reality. The scripture promises, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." The power of your decree rests upon 4 pillars. First, it must be stated in present tense language using the words, I am. Second, it must be spoken with authority, as a sovereign being claiming your inheritance. Third, it must be repeated with unwavering consistency until it rewrites the old programs of lack. And finally, it must be infused with the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. The emotion is the magnetic charge. I now invite you into a sacred act of creation. In the comment section below, write this simple, powerful decree. As you write, feel its truth ringing in your soul. I am the winning word. This act is more than symbolic. It moves your intention from thought to word to physical action, declaring to the universe that you are no longer asking, you are claiming. And now, I will give you the full prosperity decree for your daily, private practice. Speak it until it becomes your breath. Speak it with me now, in the quiet of your own heart. I am now perfectly aligned with the divine blueprint of lottery abundance. The exact amounts meant for my highest good now flow to me with perfect timing and divine precision. I joyfully recognize and follow my intuitive guidance to the specific numbers and drawings that are part of my prosperity plan. My winnings come to me easily, consistently, and joyfully, under grace and in perfect ways. I receive this magnificent abundance with overwhelming gratitude, knowing it serves my highest good and the highest good of all. This is the absolute truth of my being, and I accept it now as my living reality. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. There is a final crucial principle we must embody, one that completes the divine circuit of prosperity. It is the sacred law of circulation. Abundance is a mighty river meant to flow through you. You are designed to be a channel of blessing. The act of giving is what ensures that the flow not only continues, but expands. Give, and it shall be given unto you, the scripture promises. This is not a moral suggestion. It is cosmic physics. When you give joyfully from a consciousness of abundance, you open the floodgates for more to be received. You cannot energetically hoard pennies and expect to be a vibrational match for millions. The frequencies are incompatible. This means you must begin establishing circulation with the resources you have now. The amount is irrelevant. The consciousness behind it is everything. I am the winning word. My supply arrives by law. And so, we weave all of these sacred truths into a simple, beautiful, daily rhythm. Each day, you will take time for your immersion, entering the theater of your mind to feel the reality of your fulfilled desire. You will speak your authoritative decree, letting it set the frequency for your day. You will take a moment for intuitive attunement, quieting your mind to ask for guidance. You will practice sacred circulation, finding one small way to give from a place of pure joy. And finally, when you take the aligned action to play, you will do so with the calm certainty of one who is simply completing a physical errand that corresponds to an already established spiritual fact. You must maintain unwavering faith regardless of temporary appearances. Understand that what may appear as a delay is often divine positioning, a sacred moment where the universe is rearranging the entire board for your highest good. Your only job is to remain loyal to your unseen reality. Let us speak this final crowning declaration together now as the seal upon our work. I am perfectly and completely aligned with lottery prosperity. Every ticket I purchase is a winning ticket in the divine mind before it ever manifests in physical form. I claim my winnings now with calm certainty, knowing they come to me by divine right, under grace, and in perfect, wonderful ways. The journey is complete. You have remembered the truth. You are not broken. You are only asleep. You have moved from a consciousness of hoping to a consciousness of knowing. The era of lack in your life is finished. From this moment forward, you move through the world as one who knows. Abundance is your natural state. Prosperity is your birthright. And winning is simply the consistent, beautiful experience of a soul that has come home to itself. If this sacred work has ignited a spark within you, go to the comments now and make your public declaration. Type with all of your heart, I am the winning word. Save this video. Speak the decree for 21 days. Return to share your synchronicities. We celebrate them here. Now, go forward and live from this unshakable truth. Winning is not your luck. It is your law.
The spoken word carries the seed of manifestation. Every word we utter is a decree, a command issued to the unseen forces that shape our lives. When I say I am rich, the universe rearranges itself to make it true. The invisible law listens, and the vibration of my speech attracts its likeness, just as a magnet draws iron filings. Riches do not come from effort alone. They are summoned by alignment with the unseen law of supply. My word is my wand, and with it I write my fortune upon the canvas of life. Poverty is not real substance. It is a shadow, the absence of recognition of infinite supply. Wealth is the natural state, ever present, waiting only for my acknowledgement. When I spoke the word of abundance, I shifted my inner pattern, and everything outside obeyed. The outer is but the picture, the inner word is the film that creates it. One spoken word of faith outweighs years of striving, for faith is the key that unlocks the treasure chest of heaven. I once believed riches were far off, tied to effort, struggle, and chance. But when I spoke, "I am ultra-rich," a new law began to operate. I saw that my wealth was already established in the invisible, waiting for my claim. As I declared it, doors opened that were hidden before. People, opportunities, and ideas aligned as if summoned by a higher hand. The spoken word had gone forth like a seed and returned multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Every word has a vibration, and every vibration calls forth its twin. Words of lack summon lack. Words of doubt summon delay. But words of wealth summon wealth. And words of joy summon joy. The tongue is the rudder that steers the ship of life. Many drift because they let careless words direct them into barren waters. But the moment one speaks deliberately, with faith and certainty, the ship turns toward the harbor of abundance. To speak wealth is to affirm truth, for lack is the lie. The universe was born rich, overflowing with gold in the earth, pearls in the sea, harvest in the field. Supply is endless, as boundless as the stars. When I say, "I am ultra-rich," I align myself with the eternal current of increase. My word pierces the veil of appearances and calls forth the hidden good that was mine from the beginning. The world echoes my declaration. The law cannot deny me what I claim in faith. When I spoke, wealth hurried to meet me. It clothed itself as money, as opportunities, as gifts, as sudden favor. Every form is only the shadow of the word I spoke. To say, "I am ultra-rich," is to strike the tuning fork of infinite abundance, and all things rush to harmonize with that sound. The spoken word is a decree that shapes destiny. When I speak, I send out a vibration that echoes through the unseen, stirring forces that must respond. Every word uttered carries a power beyond the mind's comprehension, for words are not idle sounds but living seeds. They contain within them the pattern of the future, and once spoken, they begin to draw circumstances, events, and people to fulfill what was declared. Words never fall to the ground empty, they are clothed with substance and return multiplied. To speak is to command, to decree, to call forth what already exists in the invisible into visible form. The ancient law is precise: whatsoever a man declares, believing, he shall receive. Many live unaware of this law, scattering words of doubt, complaint, and fear, and then marvel when those very conditions appear in their lives. They do not see that the words they have spoken were the blueprint, and life merely built upon that design. The tongue is the rudder of destiny. A careless phrase can direct the ship into storms, while a deliberate word of power steers it into safe harbors overflowing with supply. Nothing is more powerful than the word spoken with conviction, for it is the bridge between thought and manifestation. From the beginning, creation itself was spoken. The world was not carved by hands but called forth by sound, by the decree of the word. That same creative principle flows through every individual. The voice carries authority because it aligns with universal law. When I speak, I am not simply expressing an idea, I am activating the law of vibration and attraction. Words of health draw health, words of peace draw peace, words of wealth draw wealth. It cannot be otherwise, for the law is impersonal, exact, and unfailing. The decree goes forth and must return in its likeness. When one speaks with faith, every unseen force rushes to obey. Invisible messengers are set into motion, arranging details that the mind could not plan. Opportunities appear, doors swing open, solutions arrive, often in ways too marvelous to imagine. The decree sets this into action, for the word contains the command. The decree does not plead, it knows. To decree is to affirm as already established. The spoken word does not ask, "Will it come?" but declares, "It is so." And the universe echoes back the truth of that declaration. Every life is shaped not by outer conditions but by inner words released into speech. Some wonder why struggles repeat, why lack persists, why doors remain closed. They do not see that their constant repetition of lack, fear, or failure has sealed those experiences into form. To say, "I cannot afford," is to write poverty into the script of life. To declare, "Nothing ever works out for me," is to bind oneself to disappointment. But the moment one changes the decree, the picture begins to change. When words shift from complaint to affirmation, from fear to faith, a new current is set in motion, and destiny begins to realign. The spoken word must be chosen with care, for it is a creative instrument. Every phrase is a brushstroke on the canvas of life. Speak of limitation, and the canvas fills with barriers. Speak of freedom, and the way opens wide. Words are not small, they are vast forces condensed into sound. They are lightning bolts of power, striking into the invisible and forming patterns that later materialize. To speak with awareness is to wield the most powerful tool given to humanity. To speak without awareness is to surrender destiny to chance, but in truth, there is no chance, only law responding to the decree. One word spoken in authority outweighs 1,000 thoughts. Thought unspoken is seed stored. It may or may not take root, but the moment it is spoken, it is planted, and the soil of the unseen goes to work. Just as a farmer sows in expectation of harvest, so does every word carry within it a harvest of like kind. The harvest may not appear immediately, but it is certain. Time is merely the process of unfolding what has already been planted. The wise one watches their words, knowing each one carries destiny within it. Speech is not to be used idly, for idle words are not idle in effect. They, too, go forth and create. The law knows no jest. To say even in play, words of destruction or loss is to plant seeds of the same. The soil of the unseen does not discriminate between serious and casual. It receives whatever is given. Therefore, to decree is to take responsibility for one's life, to recognize that no condition is stronger than the words spoken with authority. Outer facts may seem immovable, but the decree spoken in faith reshapes those facts into alignment with truth. When I decree, I claim dominion. I rise above appearances and declare what is eternally real. Though the senses may contradict, the spoken word pierces through illusion and draws the unseen reality into manifestation. To decree abundance in the face of lack is to align with infinite supply. To decree health in the face of illness is to align with wholeness. To decree joy in the midst of sorrow is to align with the eternal stream of life. The decree lifts consciousness out of bondage to appearances and into freedom, and as consciousness rises, outer life follows. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight, that destiny is not written by fate but by the word. Those who guard their speech guard their lives, and those who decree with certainty shape their future with precision. Each spoken word is a brush dipped in the colors of eternity, painting scenes that must one day be lived. Nothing is withheld from the one who decrees in faith, for the word is the command, and the law is the servant. The decree goes forth and destiny is written in sound. Poverty is illusion, abundance is the natural state. What appears as lack is not substance but shadow, a mirage cast by fear, doubt, and disbelief in the infinite source. In truth, the universe is overflowing with riches beyond measure. Gold lies hidden in the earth, pearls sleep within the seas, harvests wave in the fields, and ideas abound in the realm of mind. Abundance surrounds every soul, waiting only for recognition. Poverty arises when the eyes of the spirit are veiled. When one accepts the appearance of lack as reality, rather than seeing through it to the eternal supply behind it. To dwell on scarcity is to bind oneself to it, for what the mind accepts, life reproduces. To lift the gaze and declare abundance is to break the illusion. For the truth of plenty floods in where the lie of lack once stood. Every being is heir to infinite supply, yet many live as though exiled from their inheritance. They toil, they strive, they grasp, believing that wealth is rare and must be seized from others. They do not see that supply is endless, that the storehouses of the universe can never be emptied. The illusion of poverty has no root in truth. It is a false belief hardened into appearance by continual thought and speech. The natural state is richness, flowing freely, multiplying endlessly, manifesting in countless forms. When one awakens to this, the spell of lack dissolves, and abundance rushes in like a river long dammed, but suddenly released. The natural order of life is increase. The seed in the ground pushes upward. The vine bears fruit, the tree multiplies its branches, the ocean teems with fish, the stars themselves are without number. Nature does not display lack, it displays overflow. To walk in harmony with life is to walk in abundance. Scarcity comes not from life but from false belief, from blocking the current with fear and doubt. When the inner belief changes, when one recognizes that abundance is not something to strive for but something to accept, the flow resumes. The universe is never poor. It is endlessly rich, and those who align with its truth draw riches without struggle. Poverty feeds on attention. The more one looks at it, the stronger it seems. To talk of lack, to dwell on insufficiency, to rehearse stories of not enough, is to give shadow the strength of substance. Yet it is a phantom, a veil, a fleeting mist. The moment the word of abundance is spoken in faith, the mist clears and supply appears. What once seemed scarce becomes plentiful. Opportunities arise where none were seen. Money comes in unexpected channels. The outer world rearranges itself, for it was never solid but malleable, responding always to the inner recognition of truth. The mind trained to see abundance sees it everywhere. The world becomes a storehouse of supply, every encounter a doorway, every situation a chance for increase. The one who sees through the illusion of poverty is no longer bound by outer appearances. A barren field becomes a harvest, for they know the soil is rich with potential. An empty hand becomes a hand of wealth, for they know ideas flow ceaselessly from the infinite. Abundance is never absent, it is only unrecognized. The recognition is the key that unlocks it. And once unlocked, it flows ceaselessly, for it was there all along. The belief in poverty is a habit passed from mind to mind, from generation to generation, but it has no foundation in truth. It is a tale repeated so often that it appears real, but like all illusions, it dissolves when exposed to the light of truth. The child plays freely, unburdened by fear of supply, for the child instinctively trusts the universe. Only later, taught by fearful voices, does the belief in lack take hold. But what has been learned can be unlearned. The mind can be renewed, and with renewal comes the restoration of abundance. The natural state reasserts itself, sweeping away the falsehood of poverty. Life is a reflection of consciousness, and consciousness filled with lack produces want, while consciousness filled with plenty produces wealth. The world outside mirrors the world inside. To shift the inner vision from scarcity to abundance is to shift the entire experience of life. Outer riches flow naturally to the one who inwardly knows, I live in an abundant universe. I am provided for. Supply is endless and flows to me now. Such recognition dissolves fear, and without fear the channels of supply open wide. The natural law rushes to confirm what is believed, and abundance becomes visible. Every resource, every opportunity, every form of wealth is already present in the unseen. It does not need to be created, it waits to be claimed. The one who understands that poverty is illusion no longer begs or struggles, but claims their rightful inheritance with calm authority. They know that to demand abundance is not arrogance but alignment, for abundance was theirs from the beginning. The illusion of lack is like a dream that dissolves upon waking, and the soul that awakens walks in the sunlight of plenty, free from fear, free from struggle, free from the chains of want. To live in the truth of abundance is to rest in certainty, for the supply is not dependent on outer conditions. It does not waver with markets, with economies, with chance events. It flows from the infinite, steady, eternal, unchanging. Poverty rises and falls with appearances, but abundance is eternal law. Those who root themselves in appearances rise and fall with them, tossed by every wave of change. Those who root themselves in truth stand firm, drawing supply from the inexhaustible source. The illusion of lack may swirl around them, but they remain untouched, for they know the deeper reality. Poverty cannot bind the one who knows abundance as the natural state. Illusion has no power over truth. The outer picture may seem bleak, but the awakened soul declares, abundance is mine now, and the law hastens to obey. Step by step, supply appears, channels open. Life overflows with good. It was never absent, it was waiting for recognition. Poverty vanishes as a dream upon waking, and abundance shines as the eternal daylight that was always there. Words of wealth summon wealth, Words of lack summon lack. Every word is a seed sown into the fertile soil of the unseen, and that soil does not question what has been planted. It does not judge. It does not discriminate, it simply brings forth according to the seed received. When I speak words of wealth, I am planting riches into the garden of life, and the harvest will be of the same nature. When I speak words of lack, I sow the seeds of want, and the harvest too will reflect what was spoken. The harvest always comes, for the law is exact and unfailing. The tongue holds the power to bless or bind, to call forth increase or to perpetuate emptiness. Every utterance carries within it a vibration, and vibrations call to themselves their likeness, drawing into manifestation that which matches their sound. The power of words is not a matter of superstition but of law. Just as a note struck on one instrument causes the same note to vibrate in another, so does the spoken word call forth its corresponding experience. To declare, "I am prosperous," is to strike the chord of prosperity, and the world begins to vibrate with opportunities, ideas, and resources that match that tone. To declare, "I cannot afford," is to strike the chord of limitation, and life responds by withholding supply, for it can only mirror what has been spoken into it. Words are not empty, they are creative commands that mold the substance of life into form. The wealth one seeks is already present in the invisible, waiting to be summoned into view. It awaits the word that calls it forth. The declaration is the key that unlocks the invisible vaults of supply. Many strive without speaking rightly, and so their labor yields little. They sweat, they struggle, they toil, yet their words cancel their efforts. They say, "It is too hard," and life becomes hard. They say, "I will never have enough," and life echoes back, "Never enough." Yet when the same person turns their speech, declaring with conviction, "Everything I need flows to me," the struggle ends, and supply begins to appear in effortless ways. Words of wealth summon wealth, for they harmonize with the ever-present abundance that surrounds all. Every phrase uttered is a decree sent forth. Words of joy summon joy, words of peace summon peace, words of freedom summon freedom. And in the same way, words of wealth summon wealth. The decree must be consistent, for double speech confuses the law. To say in one breath, "I am rich," and in another breath, "I am poor," is to sow both weed and weeds, and the garden grows tangled. But the steady decree of wealth spoken in faith clears away the weeds of lack and establishes a pure harvest. Life becomes an echo chamber of one's own speech, faithfully returning what was first released. Words carry life or death to dreams, to health, to fortune. The wise guard their tongue as one guards treasure, for each phrase holds power. The one who habitually speaks of riches, even in small matters, trains the law to respond with increase. They do not say, "I cannot," but instead, "I can and I will." They do not say, "I lack," but instead, "I have." In time, the outer picture conforms to these inner decrees, for speech is creative and cannot return void. The universe bends to the sound of the word, reshaping itself to fulfill the decree. Consider how swiftly words of fear manifest. Speak of illness, and symptoms often follow. Speak of trouble, and difficulties seem to multiply. The same law applies to wealth. Speak of riches, and the channels of riches open. Speak of opportunities, and opportunities arrive. Life listens intently to the voice and obeys. Words are not mere expressions but blueprints, outlines of what will be built in experience. The law of vibration ensures that the spoken word attracts its match, summoning circumstances, people, and events that align with what was spoken. The one who seeks wealth must therefore speak it continually, not as wishful thinking but as present reality. To say, "I am wealthy now," is to align with the truth of abundance, which is always available. The law does not respond to begging or pleading, but to certainty. When the word is spoken with conviction, without doubt, it carries weight and authority. That authority is recognized by the unseen forces, and supply hurries to answer. Words of wealth summon wealth, because they strike the universal chord of increase, and increase is the natural flow of life. Speech must be guarded even in jest, for the law does not discern humor. To joke of poverty, to laugh about lack, to say lightly, I am broke, is to sow seeds of want all the same. The soil of the unseen does not pause to ask if the word was serious or not. It only knows to bring forth after its kind. Therefore, every utterance should be chosen carefully, for careless speech produces careless results. To live deliberately is to speak deliberately, planting only the seeds one desires to see grow. When words of wealth are spoken with gratitude, their power is magnified. Gratitude seals the decree with faith, for gratitude says, "It is already mine." The thankful word vibrates at the frequency of possession, not longing. To say, I am grateful for the riches flowing to me now, is to affirm that wealth is already present, and the law hastens to fulfill that affirmation. Gratitude draws more to be grateful for, just as complaint draws more to complain about. Words are magnets, and the attitude with which they are spoken determines the strength of their pull. The transformation of life begins with the transformation of speech. The lips trained to declare abundance reshape the entire course of destiny. Wealth does not first appear in the bank but in the mouth. Riches are summoned by the steady repetition of truth, spoken aloud until the vibration saturates consciousness and calls forth its likeness in form. To speak wealth is to set the law of supply into motion. To continue speaking it without wavering is to guarantee its appearance. Words of wealth summon wealth unfailingly, for they are one with the eternal law of increase that governs all creation. The inner word creates the outer picture. Life is not shaped by what happens outside, but by what is continuously spoken within. Every thought clothed in words becomes a decree that paints itself upon the canvas of reality. The unseen world within is the architect, and the visible world without is the building. What I whisper in the secret chambers of my mind is heard by the law of creation, and that law sets about constructing the outer form that mirrors the inner decree. The world may appear solid and immovable, but it is pliable substance molded by inner speech. To change the picture, I must first change the word that is spoken within. For the outer cannot resist the power of the inner word once it is spoken with faith and conviction. When the inner word is filled with lack, the picture reflects want. When the inner word is filled with doubt, the picture reflects delay. When the inner word is filled with fear, the picture reflects bondage. Yet when the inner word is filled with abundance, the picture reflects wealth. When the inner word is filled with faith, the picture reflects fulfillment. When the inner word is filled with joy, the picture reflects harmony. The inner word is the seed, and the outer picture is the harvest. The field of life does not question the seed, it simply reproduces what has been planted. To dwell on negative speech within is to sow weeds. To dwell on truth and abundance within is to sow flowers and fruits. The harvest is always faithful to the seed. Many attempt to change their lives by altering the outer picture, striving to rearrange circumstances, people, and conditions. Yet they discover the picture reforms itself in the same pattern, for the inner word remains unchanged. They repaint the surface, but the underlying image pushes through again. The only true transformation comes when the inner word is renewed. When the inner word shifts, the outer picture must follow. It cannot do otherwise, for the inner is the cause, and the outer is the effect. To labor only on effects is to chase shadows, but to work with the inner word is to strike at the root, ensuring that the new picture will appear with certainty. The inner word is spoken not only in conscious thought, but in the deep convictions of the heart. A man may say outwardly, I am rich, but if the inner word whispers, I am poor, then poverty will be the picture. The inner word carries more weight than the outer declaration when the two are in conflict. Yet the outer spoken word, when repeated with faith and determination, can transform the inner word. Every affirmation, every decree, spoken aloud with belief, begins to impress the subconscious mind until it takes hold and becomes the inner conviction. Then the inner and outer words harmonize, and the picture must change. Life is a mirror reflecting back the hidden word of the soul. If discord appears, it is because discord has been spoken within. If harmony appears, it is because harmony has been spoken within. Nothing appears by chance. Everything is summoned by the vibration of the inner decree. To gaze upon the outer world is to gaze upon a picture painted by one's own inner words. The picture may please or displease, but it is always faithful. The law cannot be deceived. It does not bring forth what one wishes vaguely, but what one speaks inwardly with conviction. The picture never lies, for it is the perfect reflection of the inner word. To govern the inner word is to govern life. This requires vigilance, for thoughts arise unbidden, and the tongue of the inner voice is quick to speak, yet mastery comes with awareness. By watching the inner word, I see the seeds I am planting. By correcting it immediately when it strays into lack or fear, I prevent weeds from taking root. By reaffirming truth, abundance, and joy, I strengthen the soil with fertile seed. Over time, the inner word becomes habitually aligned with truth, and the outer picture blossoms into beauty and wealth. What once seemed a struggle becomes effortless, for the law is working continually, bringing forth whatever has been sown. The inner word is like the script of a play, and the outer world is the stage upon which it is acted. Actors, props, and scenes assemble themselves according to the script. If the script says sorrow, sorrow appears. If the script says joy, joy appears. The actors themselves are not the source, they merely play the roles written for them. To change the play, the script must be rewritten, and that script is the inner word. Life obeys the script without question, for it is bound by law to mirror the inner decree. By rewriting the inner word, I rewrite the entire play of life. Some believe their circumstances are fixed, determined by fate, heredity, or chance. Yet the law of the inner word reveals that nothing is fixed except by continual decree. A condition persists only because it is continually spoken within, either consciously or unconsciously. The moment the inner word changes, the process of transformation begins. The picture may linger for a time, as the old word fades and the new word takes root, but the change is inevitable. The new picture will appear as surely as dawn follows night. Fate is not a master but a servant of the inner word. The great secret is that the inner word always precedes the outer picture. What I long for will never appear until I speak it within. Desire without decree is a dream, but desire spoken inwardly with conviction is the beginning of creation. The inner word clothes the desire with form, and that form begins to press itself outward until it appears in visible reality. To guard the inner word is to guard the creative process itself. To speak deliberately within is to command destiny. Every picture of life is but the reflection of words once spoken in the silence of the soul. The inner word creates the outer picture with exactness, never erring, never delaying except as belief delays it. The law cannot fail. It only waits for a clear decree. When the inner word is confused, the picture is confused. When the inner word is steadfast, the picture is steady. When the inner word is filled with power, the picture is glorious. The responsibility rests with the one who speaks within, for that speech is the brush that paints the masterpiece of life. Faith-filled speech unlocks infinite supply. The words spoken with faith carry a power far greater than ordinary speech. They are not mere sounds but living decrees. Clothed with the authority of conviction, vibrating with certainty that compels the unseen to respond. Faith is the element that transforms words from idle talk into commands of creation. A word spoken without belief falls to the ground like a seed scattered on stone. But a word spoken with faith takes root in the fertile soil of the unseen and brings forth a harvest in due season. Faith is the substance that gives life to the spoken decree, the invisible energy that unlocks doors, opens channels, and summons supply from unexpected places. The universe is a storehouse of abundance, infinite and inexhaustible. Yet it remains unopened until faith turns the key. Speech without faith rattles against the door but cannot move it. Speech with faith inserts the key, turns it with ease, and the treasures pour forth. Faith-filled speech does not ask timidly. It does not plead, it does not wonder if it will be answered. It speaks as one who already possesses, who already knows, who already stands in ownership of the unseen riches. The universe cannot resist such authority, for the law is bound to respond to faith. When the word is spoken in faith, it goes forth as a decree, not as a question. To say, I will be rich someday, is to postpone and weaken the command, but to say, I am rich now, in faith is to set the law into immediate motion. Faith speaks in the present, for it knows the unseen is already real. The speech of faith does not wait for appearances to confirm, it declares the reality first, and appearances rearrange themselves in obedience to the declaration. The supply was always present, but faith-filled speech is what unlocks it and calls it into visible form. Fear-filled speech locks the door as surely as faith-filled speech opens it. To say, I never have enough, is to decree lack with authority, and the law obeys, producing shortage in the outer world. To say, it is too difficult, is to bind oneself to difficulty, for the word spoken with conviction becomes a command to life. Faith is the dividing line between lack and plenty, bondage and freedom, delay and fulfillment. Without faith, words stumble. With faith, words fly like arrows to their target, never missing the mark. Faith is not struggle, it is calm assurance. The one who speaks with faith does not strain, does not force, does not beg. They speak with quiet certainty, knowing the law has heard and the supply is already flowing. Faith is rest in the unseen, confidence in the invisible. Words clothed in the Spirit become unstoppable, for they harmonize with the eternal truth that abundance is limitless and ever-present. The universe responds as though compelled, because faith is the vibration of alignment with reality. Every miracle begins with faith-filled speech. The walls of impossibility may stand tall, but one decree spoken in faith sends them crumbling. Conditions may seem immovable, but the word spoken with unwavering conviction reshapes them with ease. What logic cannot achieve, what effort cannot force, the simple word of faith accomplishes without strain. Faith-filled speech is the channel through which the infinite pours into the finite. It is the command that lifts the veil, revealing the treasures that have always been available but unseen. The difference between idle affirmation and faith-filled decree is the spirit with which it is spoken. To repeat words mechanically is to scatter seeds without soil. They fall away without result. But when the words are wrapped in the fire of faith, they penetrate the unseen, striking the chords of the universe, and the whole creation moves to fulfill them. One word of faith outweighs years of lifeless repetition, for it is not the sound of the words, but the power behind them that creates. The supply unlocked by faith-filled speech appears in many forms. It may come as money, as opportunity, as favor, as ideas, as sudden guidance. Faith does not dictate how the supply will appear, it simply knows that it will appear. The universe is limitless in channels, and faith allows it to choose the perfect one. To insist on how is to narrow the supply, but to speak in faith is to release it fully, trusting the unseen to manifest in the best and most abundant way. The one who speaks with faith lives above appearances. They may see lack in the outer, but they refuse to give it power. Their speech does not echo the outer picture, but declares the unseen truth. They say, I have abundance, even when the purse is empty. They say, I walk in wealth, even when the road looks barren. They know that to speak from appearances is to remain bound by them, but to speak in faith is to change them. The outer must eventually conform to the decree, for faith-filled speech carries the authority of law. Faith and speech together are the tools of creation. Speech alone is sound. Faith alone is silent belief. But speech infused with faith is living command, creative power in action. It summons the invisible riches into form. It unlocks the hidden treasures of life. It transforms the unseen potential into visible reality. Those who master faith-filled speech hold the key to infinite supply. For they understand that the universe is voice-activated, responding always to the sound of faith. Faith-filled speech is not bound by time. It does not concern itself with how long the manifestation takes, for it knows the decree has already been answered. Time is but the unfolding of what has already been spoken. Faith does not waver when days or weeks pass, it holds steady, knowing the harvest is inevitable. Doubt digs up the seed, but faith leaves it to grow. The word once spoken in faith is a living thing, working unseen until it emerges into form. The infinite supply of the universe is waiting always, but the key that unlocks it is faith-filled speech. Without the word, the supply remains unclaimed. Without faith, the word remains powerless. But when the two unite, the floodgates of abundance swing open, and life becomes a stream of provision, overflowing with riches, opportunities, and joy. The decree of faith is the command to the universe, and the universe responds with treasures unmeasured, pouring out more than the mind could conceive, all summoned by the simple yet mighty act of speaking in faith. In the great tapestry of life, there exists an invisible current, a golden river of abundance, flowing ceaselessly for those who learn the secret rhythm of its song. Prosperity is not a prize reserved for the chosen few, nor is it a fleeting visitor that graces one and abandons another. It is an eternal law, steadfast and sure, waiting patiently for the door of consciousness to open wide. Secret cash code is not a mere phrase of intrigue. It is the whisper of the universe, calling each soul to awaken to the limitless supply that has always been theirs. Every man and woman carries within their being a silent vault, a treasure house not made of stone or steel, but of thought, faith, and vibration. This hidden chamber responds not to force, but to alignment, to the perfect tone of belief spoken through the language of divine law. When one learns to tune their inner instrument to the frequency of abundance, the outer world can do nothing but reflect it. It is not a question of if wealth will appear, but when the inner code is unlocked. Money, like every other expression of the infinite, is a servant, not a master. It rushes to the individual who stands in calm assurance, knowing that supply is infinite and delay is but an illusion. The secret cash code is the sacred key that turns the lock on hidden supply, not by chasing but by calling, not by striving but by knowing, for it is written in the invisible laws of success. What one claims in consciousness with unwavering faith must mirror itself in form. The world teaches struggle and scarcity, but the soul whispers ease and overflow. The outer noise insists that only through toil may one prosper, yet the inner knowing declares that true wealth flows effortlessly through aligned thought and spoken word. As one casts out every shadow of fear and doubt, the golden stream begins to pour through unexpected channels, as if the universe had been waiting all along for the simple act of belief. The code is not hidden in distant lands nor buried beneath ancient stones. It lies in the quiet places of the heart, where faith is stronger than appearances and the invisible is more real than what the eyes can see. It lives in the affirmations spoken with authority, in the visions held without wavering, in the trust that knows no lack. When the mind ceases to chase and begins to command with love and certainty, the secret code is entered, and the vault swings open wide. This is the art of allowing rather than forcing, of standing firm in divine right supply, of knowing that wealth is already yours in the realm of spirit, waiting only for your acceptance. The river of gold flows where faith directs it. The code responds to the one who dares to speak abundance as their birthright, not with pleading lips, but with a voice of quiet command. Wealth flows to aligned thought and unwavering faith because the universe responds not to confusion or hesitation, but to clarity and certainty. Every idea held in the mind is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the unseen, and wealth is one of the many fruits that spring from that invisible garden. Thought is not a fragile whisper lost in the air. It is a living force, a magnetic current drawing to itself its own likeness. When the mind holds a clear vision, free from the weight of doubt, it becomes like a finely tuned instrument, resonating perfectly with the rhythm of abundance. This is the secret of why some people seem to attract prosperity effortlessly, while others struggle and grasp. It is not chance, but alignment. Aligned thought is the state where mind, word, and spirit speak in one voice. It is when the inner dialogue carries no contradiction, no yes but, no wavering between faith and fear. When a person believes in their divine right to prosper, not as a distant wish, but as a present reality, the entire field of life bends to accommodate that certainty. The forces of the unseen, which respond to vibration more swiftly than to effort, rush to fulfill the clear command issued by aligned consciousness. The outer world is but a mirror of the inner state. To demand wealth with the lips, while harboring disbelief in the heart, is to send two opposing orders to the universe. But to think, speak, and feel as one is to open the gate through which the river of wealth flows unhindered. Faith is the silent power that seals thought into form. It is the invisible hand that moves substance, rearranges circumstances, and clears unseen paths. Where faith stands unwavering, mountains of impossibility dissolve into dust. Wealth, like all manifestations, is drawn not by frantic effort but by inner knowing. This is why faith has always been spoken of as the substance of things hoped for. When faith is firm, wealth must follow, not as a favor but as a law. The universe is law. It does not deny what is clearly commanded in perfect alignment. Every doubt is a stone placed in the current of flow, slowing and sometimes stopping the movement of supply. Each fear sends out a signal of lack, and the universe, faithful to every vibration, returns experiences that match the feeling of shortage. On the other hand, each thought of certainty is like removing another barrier, allowing the stream to widen and quicken its pace. Wealth is never truly absent. It is only blocked by misaligned thought, by inner contradictions that say, "I desire," but secretly whisper, "I do not believe." To hold aligned thought is to live as if the wealth were already here. It is to think from the state of abundance, not toward it. It is the difference between a beggar knocking on a closed door and a rightful heir turning the key to their own estate. When thought is aligned with wealth, there is no pleading, only calm assurance. There is no strain, only the serene expectation that what is already real in the unseen must appear in the seen. Faith is not noisy. It does not argue or waver. It is a still, unwavering knowing. Like the sun that does not question whether it will rise, true faith does not question whether abundance will manifest. It holds the idea firmly, speaks it with quiet authority, and allows the universe to fulfill its part of the law. Wealth is naturally attracted to this state because there is no resistance left to push it away. It is not a struggle, it is a magnetic pull. The moment a person ceases to doubt, they stop building walls around their good. The mind, once set in unwavering faith, becomes a clear channel through which abundance flows easily and naturally. There is no fight to make wealth appear. There is only the confident expectation that it must. Just as a seed placed in good soil, under sunlight and water, grows without being begged to sprout, so does wealth come when the conditions of thought and faith are in perfect harmony. People often labor tirelessly, chasing wealth with restless energy, not realizing that their frantic pursuit springs from inner uncertainty. Aligned thought does not chase, it calls. It does not plead, it commands quietly. It does not wonder, it knows. The world responds not to the loudest cry, but to the clearest signal. When that signal is unwavering, everything conspires to deliver the manifestation. Channels of supply appear where none were seen. Opportunities seem to fall into place with uncanny timing. People, places, and events align as if guided by an unseen hand, because in truth they are. Faith makes the invisible visible. It allows one to live richly in consciousness before wealth takes tangible shape. It permits no space for fearful speculation, no wavering between maybe and maybe not. It is a single note, pure and unwavering, like a bell that never falters in its sound. Wealth recognizes this tone because it is of the same frequency. Lack and doubt cannot exist in the same space as such certainty. When faith is firm, there is nothing left to delay the arrival of abundance. To live in aligned thought is to cultivate a disciplined inner world. It requires the casting out of every idea of limitation and the replacing of it with unshakable trust in universal supply. Each time a thought of fear arises, it must be gently but firmly replaced with a thought of certainty. Each spoken word must reflect the inner conviction. There can be no careless speech about lack, no idle talk of impossibility, for every word is a command to the invisible forces that shape reality. Aligned thought is not just belief in the mind, it is belief embodied in thought, speech, and action. Faith strengthens thought like steel reinforcing stone. Without it, thought remains fragile, easily swayed by appearances. With it, thought becomes immovable, and appearances must eventually conform. Wealth flows to that kind of mind effortlessly, for it finds no resistance there. It finds a ready channel, an open gate, a clear road. The individual no longer tries to push against the current, but stands still, letting the current carry them to the shore of manifestation. This is why those who cultivate unwavering faith seem to attract wealth without force. They are not favored more than others. They are aligned more than others. Their minds are not clouded by mixed signals. They do not entertain the idea of failure because it has no place in their mental world. They walk, speak, and act as though abundance were their natural state, because it is. The outer world simply reflects their inner certainty like a mirror reflecting a steady flame. To align thought is to decide once and for all that abundance is not a question but a fact. It is to choose faith over fear, clarity over contradiction, and inner assurance over outer appearances. When that decision is made deeply and held unwaveringly, wealth begins its journey toward its rightful owner, not because of chance, but because law has been set in motion, and law never fails. The secret code is unlocked through belief, not force, because the unseen laws that govern abundance respond to the quiet authority of faith rather than the strained effort of willpower. Force belongs to the realm of fear, the restless attempt to push reality into shape through anxiety and resistance. Belief, however, belongs to the realm of certainty, the silent command that requires no struggle. When a person believes, truly and deeply, the universe bends to that belief. When they force, they reveal their disbelief and set up barriers that block the very flow they seek to receive. Belief is a soft but unbreakable power. It does not need to prove itself through frantic action or loud declarations. It simply is. It speaks quietly, but with the weight of authority. The secret code that opens the door to abundance is not a mechanical formula, nor a trick to manipulate the world, but an inner state of consciousness where belief becomes the key. Just as a locked door does not yield to pounding but opens easily to the right key, so does the gate of prosperity swing wide to the one who believes. Force is born of fear. It is the restless hand knocking on doors that are already open but unseen. It says, "I must make this happen," because it does not trust that the universe will deliver. Belief, on the other hand, walks in calm assurance, knowing that what is claimed within must appear without. Force struggles against the current. Belief moves with it. Force tries to control the how and when. Belief rests in the certainty of the outcome. The law of abundance is not swayed by emotional storms or desperate efforts. It responds to the still voice of belief like a compass pointing true north. To unlock the secret code, one must understand that the universe is not withholding good. Wealth is not hiding in distant corners, waiting to be chased down. It is already present, waiting to be received through the simple act of inner acceptance. Belief is that acceptance. It is the act of saying, "This is already mine," even before the outer world confirms it. It is the refusal to be swayed by appearances that contradict the inner vision. Where belief stands firm, resistance falls away, and the flow begins. Forcing reality is like trying to open a flower by pulling its petals apart. The result is damage, not bloom. But belief is like sunlight, warm and constant, drawing the flower open in its own perfect time. When the inner state is aligned with belief, there is no sense of strain. There is a quiet rhythm, an invisible cooperation between the seen and unseen. The secret code does not respond to pleading hands or frantic energy. It responds to calm, quiet, unwavering trust. Those who live in belief understand the invisible structure of reality. They know that outer circumstances are but mirrors of inner conviction. They do not chase after wealth as though it were running away from them. They allow wealth to find them because they know it is already theirs in essence. Their belief acts like a signal, steady and clear, calling forth matching experiences, people, and opportunities. They need not push against the world. They simply align their inner world and let the outer world follow. Force is exhausting because it fights against the very law it seeks to use. It says, I must control this, and in doing so it declares that it does not believe the law is already working. Belief, however, is effortless. It requires no tension, no mental struggle, no endless grasping. It stands like a mountain, unmoved by passing winds. It knows that what is held in consciousness with unwavering trust must eventually crystallize into form. The secret code does not yield to the loudest demand. It yields to the clearest belief. Belief carries authority because it speaks the language of the universe. It does not doubt its own voice. It does not speak one moment of abundance and another moment of lack. It holds its tone like a steady note, and the universe responds in harmony. Those who rely on force keep changing their tune, driven by fear, impatience, or frustration. Their signal is confused, and so the reflection they receive is also confused. Belief is unwavering, and its reflection is certain. The person who believes does not beg for what is already theirs. They do not force their way through closed doors because they know the door they seek is already open. They do not wrestle with the how or the when. They rest in knowing that these details are not their work. Their work is to believe, to hold the inner picture clear, to speak words that match it, to act as though it were already a fact. In this way, the secret code is unlocked naturally, as though the vault of supply had been waiting all along for this moment of certainty. Force belongs to the realm of time, where impatience and urgency rule. Belief belongs to the realm of timelessness, where the outcome is already secure. Force tries to drag the future into the present through sheer strain. Belief lives as though the future is already here. It is this calm possession, this quiet claiming, that makes the invisible visible. The more one tries to force, the more they signal to the universe that they do not have. The more one believes, the more they signal that it is already done. To live by belief is to give up the struggle that has been mistaken for strength. It is to step into a higher order of power, one that does not require tension to move mountains. The mountain moves because the inner command is clear. Belief does not whisper uncertainly, it declares, not with arrogance, but with the calm authority of one who knows their divine right. Force is noise, belief is power. The secret code is a lock that cannot be picked through force, no matter how determined the effort. It requires the right vibration, and belief is that vibration. It is like a frequency on a radio dial. One cannot force the station to play the right song, they must tune in. Belief is tuning in. It matches the frequency of wealth, and once that match is made, the signal is clear. Wealth begins to flow through channels both expected and unexpected, often in ways the rational mind could not have planned. Force is rooted in lack. It says, I do not have, and I must fight to get it. Belief is rooted in possession. It says, it is already mine and I allow it to come forth. The energy of these two states is entirely different. Force creates resistance, belief dissolves it. Force tires the spirit, belief strengthens it. Force delays, belief invites. The universe does not respond to the clenched fist, but to the open hand. Belief requires trust. Trust that the invisible is more powerful than the visible. Trust that the law is working even when the senses say otherwise. Trust that what is held within must eventually appear without. This trust is not fragile, it is the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. It allows the mind to remain quiet while the unseen moves, to remain sure even when appearances seem unchanged. Those who master belief become like still water, clear, deep, and powerful. Their quiet assurance carries more strength than 100 forced actions. Their belief draws opportunities without strain, moves obstacles without struggle, and unlocks doors without pounding. It is not because they have discovered some rare secret unknown to others, but because they have understood the true key: belief over force. When belief reigns, there is no need to chase, no need to demand, no need to push. There is only alignment, trust, and the quiet confidence that what has been claimed is on its way. The secret code yields itself to such a mind because there is no conflict left within it, no resistance, no contradiction. It is pure, simple, and powerful. The act of belief itself is the unlocking. The moment the mind stops forcing and begins believing, the door swings open, and the flow begins to move freely, answering the clear command of faith. Prosperity is an inner state before it becomes outer form. Because every visible structure in the world is first shaped in the invisible realm of thought. All that appears in material existence is a shadow cast by consciousness, and wealth is no exception. What one holds steadfastly within inevitably takes shape without, for the outer world is but a mirror, reflecting the inner convictions of the soul. Prosperity does not arrive through chance, nor does it favor a select few. It flows to those who have first built its foundation in their unseen world, those who have already possessed it in spirit long before it showed itself in their hands. The invisible is the cause, the visible is only the result. When the inner world is steeped in abundance, there is no sense of lack. The individual walks with the quiet bearing of one who already has, not the anxious grasp of one who is still seeking. The universe responds to this inner state because it recognizes it as a signal of completion. Like attracts like, and the vibration of prosperity calls forth its equal. When a person believes with unwavering certainty that they are already prosperous, the outer world must mirror that conviction. It has no choice, for it is governed by law, not chance. Those who chase wealth without first embodying prosperity within are like gardeners scattering seeds upon barren rock. Their efforts may be great, but the ground is not prepared to receive. The inner state is the fertile soil. Belief, expectation, and certainty are the water and sunlight. Outer success grows naturally from this inner richness, just as a tree grows from a seed already complete in its design. To build prosperity outside while holding scarcity inside is to build upon sand. No structure can stand long when the foundation is weak. Prosperity as an inner state is not measured by the coins in a purse, but by the consciousness of abundance held in the heart. One may stand in the midst of visible lack, yet feel no fear, no anxiety, no shrinking of spirit, because inwardly they know their wealth is secure. Another may be surrounded by material riches, and yet tremble with the fear of losing it, proving that outer possessions alone do not make one prosperous. True prosperity lives in the invisible sanctuary of the mind, unshaken by circumstances, and it is from this inner fullness that lasting wealth is born. The mind that lives in abundance speaks differently, walks differently, and moves through the world with a quiet certainty. It does not beg opportunity to appear, it expects it. It does not clutch at resources in fear of losing them. It knows more will come. This state of inner richness is like a magnetic field that draws all things to itself with ease. People, circumstances, and events bend to the steady will of an abundant consciousness, not because they are forced, but because they must reflect what is held within. Scarcity, on the other hand, is also an inner state. When a person carries within them the belief in limitation, their outer world faithfully mirrors it back. Doors seem closed, opportunities appear distant, and wealth always seems to belong to someone else. They may work with great force, but the results come slowly or not at all, because the inner state contradicts the desire. To long for prosperity while inwardly living in scarcity is to pull in two directions at once, creating a stagnant current where flow should be. To shift from scarcity to prosperity begins not with more action, but with inner transformation. It begins with the deliberate choice to feel abundant, even when appearances give no evidence of wealth. It is the quiet claiming of prosperity as a present reality, not a future hope. The moment the mind accepts prosperity within, something powerful shifts in the unseen. The outer world begins to rearrange itself, not through force, but through the magnetic pull of alignment. Prosperity cannot help but appear where it is already acknowledged inwardly. This is why some seem to attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle endlessly. The difference is not in luck or intelligence, but in the unseen blueprint of their consciousness. One holds prosperity as a natural state of being, and it comes. Another chases it as something distant, and it remains distant. Prosperity cannot be chased, it must be embodied. It is not summoned by desperation, but invited through certainty. The inner state of prosperity carries a quiet assurance that manifests in thought, word, and action. The prosperous person does not speak of lack or entertain thoughts of limitation. Their language reflects their inner world, calm, confident, and generous. They give freely because they know supply is endless. They act boldly because they know abundance supports every step. Their outer success is only a reflection of this inner abundance that they have long held. Outer form always follows inner structure, just as a shadow always follows the object that casts it. If one desires to change the shadow, it is useless to scrape at the ground where it falls. One must turn to the object itself, adjust it, and the shadow will change on its own. In the same way, striving to alter the outer world without first altering the inner state is labor without fruit. When the inner state is rich and clear, the outer must align. Prosperity as an inner state also dissolves the fear of losing what is gained. Many who acquire wealth without first securing the inner foundation live with constant anxiety, watching every coin, fearing every turn of circumstance. But the one who is prosperous inwardly carries their wealth within them. No outer loss can shake their sense of security. Even if material forms shift or fall away, the consciousness that created them remains, ready to bring forth new expression. This is the difference between fleeting fortune and enduring prosperity. This inner prosperity does not depend on possessions, yet it draws possessions as naturally as the earth draws rain. It does not cling to symbols, for it knows the source. It does not chase after appearances, for it holds the reality. When the mind knows itself to be abundant, the world simply rearranges itself to reflect that knowledge. The individual no longer strives to make prosperity happen, they allow it to unfold as the natural consequence of their inner state. Every great fortune in the world began first as an invisible vision in someone's mind. Before any building rose, it was drawn in thought. Before any enterprise flourished, it was imagined in detail. Before any wealth accumulated, it was claimed inwardly by someone who believed it already theirs. The secret lies not in the outer act, but in the inner certainty. Prosperity comes first as a knowing, a feeling, a settled truth, and then it takes shape in the material realm. To hold prosperity as an inner state is to dwell in a space of gratitude before the harvest appears. It is to give thanks for what the eyes cannot yet see, but the soul already knows. This gratitude is not a polite gesture, it is a powerful creative force. It signals to the universe that the claim has already been made and accepted. Outer reality must then align with that claim, for it is bound to obey the vibration from which it springs. The prosperous mind stands calm in storms. It is not shaken by temporary appearances of lack, for it knows appearances are but ripples on the surface of a deeper current. This deeper current is unbroken and abundant, flowing constantly beneath all shifting forms. The one who holds prosperity inwardly is anchored in this current, steady and unafraid. Even when others waver, they remain sure, and that inner certainty becomes a beacon around which new wealth gathers. When prosperity is cultivated inwardly, every action taken outwardly carries power. A single step born from inner abundance accomplishes more than 100 frantic steps born from lack. The prosperous mind does not act from desperation but from knowing. It does not grasp for opportunities, it recognizes them. It does not fight for resources, it magnetizes them. This is why aligned inner prosperity creates ease where others encounter struggle. The true seat of wealth is consciousness. Outer possessions are only reflections, changing and moving with time. But the inner state is the source. When the inner state is set in prosperity, outer wealth becomes inevitable. The forms may change, the channels may shift, but the flow remains constant because it comes not from the world, but from within. This is the essence of all lasting prosperity, to possess it first in the unseen, and the seen will follow, as surely as the dawn follows the night. Money responds to certainty, not fear or doubt, because the language of the universe is vibration, and certainty speaks it clearly, while fear speaks it in fragments. When the mind is sure, the message it sends is steady, powerful, and unmistakable. But when the mind wavers, sending signals of both desire and resistance, money, like every form of supply, receives no clear command to follow. It moves toward the one who calls it with unwavering assurance, just as a river flows easily toward the open channel rather than the blocked one. Fear and doubt build invisible dams, but certainty opens the floodgates. Certainty is not a loud cry, but a quiet, immovable state. It does not depend on outer appearances for its strength. It does not ask permission from circumstance. It stands rooted in the invisible truth that supply is constant, that the flow of wealth is unbroken, and that abundance belongs by divine right. This certainty is magnetic. It draws money, opportunities, and resources because it leaves no room for contradiction. It does not beg or chase. It commands with calm authority. It is not arrogance but alignment, not force but clarity. Fear is the voice that says, "What if it doesn't come?" Doubt whispers, "Perhaps I am not worthy." These inner whispers, though often quiet, send a strong message to the unseen. Money does not answer to such uncertainty. It waits at the gate of belief, unmoving, until the mind stands firm again. Fear is a repellent, a shadow that breaks the clear signal of prosperity. Doubt is the trembling hand that pushes away the very good it longs for. Certainty, however, is the steady pulse that says, "It is already mine," and the universe answers to that tone. To understand why money responds to certainty, one must see it not as a thing to be chased, but as a current to be aligned with. A current flows naturally and easily toward the lowest resistance. When a person believes fully, there is no resistance in their consciousness. When they fear or doubt, they create barriers. These barriers may not be seen with the eyes, but they are felt in vibration, and vibration governs all manifestation. When certainty is present, the current flows freely, and what is claimed inwardly begins to take shape outwardly. Many struggle to attract or hold money, not because they lack skill or opportunity, but because their inner state is uncertain. They speak of abundance one moment and of lack the next. They imagine success while quietly entertaining the possibility of failure. Their words may be bold, but their vibration is divided. Money responds to what is held consistently, not to fleeting moments of faith overshadowed by long stretches of doubt. A single unwavering thought is more powerful than 1,000 scattered hopes. Certainty is not about pretending. It is not about forcing confidence or covering fear with hollow affirmations. It is a deep knowing that exists beneath the noise of appearances. It is the silent conviction that supply is sure, that opportunities are abundant, that wealth is faithful to those who trust in its flow. When a person reaches this inner steadiness, even if nothing seems to move on the surface, the unseen begins to shift. Doors that were once closed begin to open, often in ways unexpected. This is not coincidence. It is the natural response to certainty. Fear and doubt, on the other hand, create chaos in the field of manifestation. They send out mixed signals, confusing the flow of supply. One part of the mind says, "Come," while another whispers, "Stay away." The result is stagnation, delay, or unpredictable outcomes. Money does not flow toward confusion, it flows toward clarity, and clarity is born of certainty, not of fear. This is why many who worry constantly about their finances find that money seems always to slip through their fingers. Their vibration does not match their desire. Their doubt speaks louder than their belief. Certainty does not require visible evidence. In fact, true certainty shines brightest in the absence of evidence. It stands firm when the outer world appears empty. It does not look to the bank account to decide whether abundance is real. It decides first, and the bank account follows. This reversal of cause and effect is the great secret of those who walk in wealth with quiet ease. They do not wait for proof, they are the proof. Their certainty itself is the signal that draws material form into alignment. Fear often disguises itself as caution, as practicality, as reason. But beneath those names, it still speaks the language of lack. It says, I must hold tightly because there may not be enough. It says, I must calculate every step because abundance is fragile. These inner messages may appear wise on the surface, but they build invisible walls. Certainty, in contrast, opens the hands. It trusts the flow without needing to clutch or hoard. It allows money to move freely, and in that freedom, it multiplies. The mind that is certain about its wealth does not panic when appearances shift. It does not shrink when temporary shadows fall. It knows that shadows cannot stop the sun from shining. In the same way, temporary setbacks cannot stop the flow of supply. The certain mind remains still, calm, and unwavering. Money responds to this stillness like metal to a magnet. It moves toward the one who holds the stronger signal, not the louder fear. Doubt is often subtle, and that is why it holds power. It hides in small thoughts, the quiet second-guessing, the hesitant gesture, the fleeting worry. But each of these small doubts weakens the signal of certainty. It is like static in a broadcast, distorting the message. The key is to remove these small doubts as carefully and consistently as one would clear debris from a flowing river. Each doubt cleared allows the current to run faster, smoother, stronger. Certainty must live not only in words but in feeling. The feeling of abundance must take root so deeply that it cannot be shaken by temporary appearances. It is not enough to speak of wealth while feeling lack. The universe listens to feeling more than to speech. Words are surface, feeling is foundation. When certainty becomes a felt reality, the outer world is compelled to match it. Money is not an enemy to be conquered, it is a servant to be summoned, but it does not respond to a trembling voice. It answers the one who speaks with quiet power. It comes to those who have already accepted its presence inwardly, who have made room for it in their consciousness without fear. It avoids the grasping hand, because grasping signals doubt. It flows to the open hand, because openness signals trust. The person who is certain of their prosperity does not obsess over when or how it will come. They know it is inevitable. This quiet inevitability is their power. They may act boldly, but their actions are not desperate. They may plan carefully, but their plans are not born of fear. They move with the rhythm of abundance rather than against it. Their certainty is their compass, and money recognizes its pull. The universe has no power to contradict a clear and unwavering signal. It must respond. This is the quiet authority of certainty. It does not demand or plead. It simply declares and the unseen obeys. This is why fear, even when hidden beneath polite words, delays manifestation. The universe listens to the heart, not the lips. It answers the steady beat of certainty, not the scattered echoes of doubt. When certainty reigns, actions become effortless, timing becomes natural, and opportunities seem to unfold without strain. When fear and doubt rule, even the best opportunities slip through unnoticed or are met with hesitation. The difference is not in luck, but in vibration. The one who is certain stands at the center of the flow. The one who doubts stands at its edge, watching it pass. This certainty can be cultivated. It is not granted to a few. It grows each time doubt is silenced, each time fear is recognized and replaced with trust. It strengthens each time the mind chooses to believe without needing proof. Slowly the signal becomes steady, the channel clear, and the flow of money responds with precision. Money, like all things, is obedient to the vibration it receives. It listens not to fear, not to pleading, but to certainty. Abundance is claimed, not chased. Because the nature of true wealth does not respond to desperation, but to ownership. What is chased moves further away, but what is claimed stands still and is drawn in. The act of claiming abundance is an act of authority, a quiet declaration that what belongs by divine right has already been received inwardly. It is not a request, not a plea, not a bargain with circumstance, but a statement of inner possession. Chasing speaks of lack, but claiming speaks of certainty. The universe does not answer to grasping hands, but to the still, unwavering voice that says, "It is mine." Chasing abundance is rooted in the belief that it lives somewhere outside the self, distant and elusive. It is the posture of one who believes they must run after wealth as if it were a fleeting shadow. This is why chasing never brings lasting results. The more one chases, the more they declare through their actions that they do not have. This vibration of lack becomes the signal the universe receives, and so lack is mirrored back. Claiming, however, is the inner act of bringing what is unseen into ownership. It is saying without hesitation that abundance is here now, regardless of what the outer world appears to show. Claiming does not require struggle because it does not see abundance as something to be earned through strain. It recognizes that the flow of supply is constant, that the universe does not ration wealth but pours it freely through the channels opened by belief. To claim is to stand in alignment with this truth, to step into the current of abundance rather than running after its waves. Chasing is born of fear that the flow might not reach. Claiming is born of the knowing that the flow never ceases. Those who live in the state of chasing often find themselves exhausted. Their energy is spent in endless striving, grasping, and forcing. They run after opportunities with the trembling hand of uncertainty, hoping that something will grant them permission to receive. But abundance does not yield to the uncertain. It does not answer the voice that says, "Please." It answers the voice that says, "Already." When abundance is claimed, there is no running, no grasping, no bargaining with life. There is only standing, still, steady, sure. Claiming abundance is a matter of consciousness. It is not about accumulating external possessions to prove wealth, but about holding the inner posture of possession before the world has yet caught up. This inner claim acts like a key turning in an invisible lock. Once turned, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to reflect the claim. Resources, opportunities, and unexpected channels appear, not because they were chased down, but because they were drawn to the magnetic field of ownership. To chase abundance is to live in tomorrow. To claim it is to live in now. Chasing says, "I will have." Claiming says, "I already do." The difference between these two statements is vast. One pushes the good away into the future, making it always just out of reach. The other anchors it firmly in the present, making it inevitable to appear. The universe mirrors the present state of consciousness. If the present is filled with chasing, then the future remains a moving target. If the present is filled with claiming, then the future has no choice but to match it. The act of claiming abundance is quiet. It does not need to shout or demand. It simply decides. It does not wait for permission. It does not wait for evidence. It does not wait for the right timing, the right opportunity, or the right conditions. It declares it is already so, and lives as if that declaration were a fact. This quiet certainty is what bends the unseen into form. Chasing delays, claiming accelerates. Chasing creates distance. Each time one reaches out for abundance in desperation, they reinforce the belief that it is separate from them. Claiming dissolves distance. It brings abundance into immediate reality, not through force, but through alignment. It is like standing still and allowing the river to flow to your feet rather than running upstream trying to catch it. The river is always flowing. The only question is whether one stands ready to receive or runs away in restless pursuit. The one who claims abundance moves through life with a different presence. Their steps are not hurried, their words are not strained, their energy is not scattered. They walk as if the treasure were already in hand, and the world reflects this quiet ownership. Opportunities seem to appear effortlessly. Doors seem to open without knocking, and resources arrive from expected and unexpected places. This is not coincidence, but law. The claim has been made inwardly, and the outer must align with the inner. When chasing, the mind is always looking outward, searching for proof, waiting for signs. It is restless, filled with questions about when, how, and through whom the good will come. This restlessness becomes a vibration of uncertainty, and uncertainty delays manifestation. When claiming, the mind is inwardly settled. It does not look outward for signs because it already knows the outcome. It is calm, steady, and immovable, and abundance recognizes this as its home. Chasing speaks of a beggar's heart, even if the words are polished. It says, "I hope to receive." Claiming speaks of a sovereign mind. It says, "I have received." This is not arrogance, but alignment with truth. The universe is not withholding, it is responsive. It moves toward the signal of ownership like metal to a magnet. When abundance is claimed, there is no competition, no grasping, no fear of scarcity. There is only flow. Fear often hides behind the chase, the fear of missing out, the fear of being left behind, the fear of never having enough. But fear cannot coexist with true ownership. Claiming abundance means standing in a space where fear no longer governs decisions. It is a quiet refusal to be ruled by the illusion of lack. It is the mind saying, "I no longer run after what is already mine." Abundance flows where it is welcomed, not where it is hunted. The act of claiming is the act of welcoming. It is the opening of the gate. It is standing at the center of the flow rather than chasing it downstream. Those who understand this law waste no energy in frantic pursuit. They cultivate the inner feeling of ownership, and the outer world responds faithfully to it. To claim abundance is to align one's thoughts, words, and actions with wealth already possessed. It is to speak not as one hoping to receive, but as one who has already received. It is to move through the world not with the grasping energy of lack, but with the calm authority of sufficiency. The universe responds to that authority without hesitation, for it recognizes the vibration of truth. Chasing often creates exhaustion and disappointment because the goal keeps moving. Claiming creates peace because the result is already secured inwardly. The one who chases waits for something to happen before they feel abundant. The one who claims feels abundant first, and then the world must mirror that feeling. This inversion of cause and effect is the hidden key. The claiming of abundance is not a single moment, but a continual posture. It is renewed each day, held firm even when appearances seem slow to shift. It does not depend on signs to stay strong. It remains steady, knowing that appearances are merely catching up to the claim. This steadiness is what gives claiming its power. It is not a fragile wish, but a declaration that does not waver. The energy of claiming is magnetic. It draws not only money, but every resource needed for its expression. It attracts people, opportunities, and situations that match the vibration of ownership. It requires no chase because the flow is automatic once the claim is made and held. It is as natural as gravity pulling a stone downward. The universe recognizes the steady claim and responds without delay. When chasing is abandoned and claiming is embraced, a quiet shift takes place. The restless motion of striving gives way to the calm pull of magnetism. The scattered efforts of forcing are replaced by deliberate, aligned movement. The fear of missing out is replaced by the knowing that nothing meant for you can escape. Abundance, which seemed distant, draws near and settles into its rightful place. Chasing belongs to the realm of uncertainty, but claiming belongs to the realm of truth. What is claimed inwardly cannot remain outside for long. The outer world must answer to the inner decree. This is not because of chance or luck, but because the laws that govern supply are unwavering. They do not bend to fear, but they always respond to authority. The moment one stops chasing and begins claiming, abundance shifts from distant dream to tangible reality, drawn in by the steady hand of inner ownership.
The lottery, that symbol of instant life-changing wealth that captures the imagination of millions, is not merely a game of chance as the world would have you believe.
It is a perfect metaphor for the abundance that already exists in the invisible realm, waiting to be claimed by those who understand the divine laws of manifestation. Today, you will discover how to win the lottery, not occasionally, not sometimes, but every time you engage with life's infinite possibilities. This is not about statistical probability or random luck. This is about aligning yourself with the perfect law that governs all creation. The law that guarantees your good must come to you when you align with it completely. Many will dismiss these words as fantasy or wishful thinking. Let them. The truth of divine abundance has never been for the masses, but for those select individuals who are ready to transcend limitation and claim their rightful inheritance of prosperity. You are one of these individuals. You would not be drawn to this message if you were not. The principles you are about to discover have transformed ordinary lives into extraordinary testimonies of abundance throughout history. These are not new ideas. They are ancient wisdom expressed in modern language for your benefit today. They are the same principles that have enabled seemingly miraculous manifestations of wealth, health, and happiness for those who applied them with unwavering faith. As you absorb these words, something profound is already happening within you. Old patterns of lack consciousness are dissolving. Limiting beliefs about money and prosperity are being uprooted. A new consciousness of abundance is taking root in the fertile soil of your mind. This transformation is not just possible, it is inevitable when you align yourself with divine law. The journey we are embarking on together is not merely about winning a lottery drawing, although that may indeed be part of your experience. It is about winning the greater lottery of life, about claiming the abundance that is already yours by divine right, about stepping into the flow of infinite prosperity that never ceases to flow. Are you ready to receive your good? Are you prepared to cast off the shackles of limitation and step into the freedom of unlimited abundance? Your answer to these questions will determine everything that follows. The transformation begins now. Before you can win any lottery, whether a literal drawing of numbers or the metaphorical lottery of abundant living, you must first understand and accept a fundamental truth. Abundance is your divine birthright. The universe is not a place of scarcity and limitation. It is an unlimited storehouse of good, waiting to be claimed by those who understand its laws. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. These words contain a profound truth about the nature of the universe. There is no lack in the divine realm. There is only abundant supply, waiting for your conscious recognition and acceptance. The problem is not that abundance is unavailable to you. The problem is that you have been conditioned to believe in lack, to accept limitation as your lot in life, to see scarcity where there is only infinite supply. This false belief system creates a barrier between you and the prosperity that is already yours by divine right. Consider for a moment the same divine power that creates galaxies, that sustains life on this planet, that orchestrates the perfect harmony of natural law. This same power is available to you, working through you, eager to express as prosperity, abundance, and fulfillment in your life. Would such a power create you to experience lack? Would it design you for limitation? Of course not. You were created to experience the fullness of life, to partake of its abundance, to prosper in every area of your existence. This is not spiritual theory. It is divine law. And when you align yourself with this law, your good must come to you. It cannot be otherwise. The lottery that captures the imagination of millions is simply one channel through which this abundance can flow into your experience. But it is not the source of abundance. The source is the divine law itself, working with mathematical precision to bring your good to you when you align yourself with it. This alignment begins with a fundamental shift in consciousness, from seeing yourself as separate from abundance to recognizing that you are one with it, that it is your natural state, your divine inheritance, your absolute right. Speak this affirmation with conviction. Infinite abundance is my divine right. I open myself to receive prosperity through every channel, seen and unseen. My good flows to me freely, joyously, and abundantly under grace in perfect ways. Feel these words resonating in the depths of your being. They are not just positive statements, they are declarations of truth that align you with the divine law of abundance. As you speak them, as you feel their truth, you are literally rewiring your consciousness, removing the barriers that have separated you from your good. The world may tell you that abundance is scarce, that wealth is for the fortunate few, that winning the lottery is a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. But the world operates according to human law, not divine law. And human law is merely a shadow of the perfect law that governs all creation. Under divine law, abundance is unlimited. Under divine law, prosperity flows to the conscious that is aligned with it. Under divine law, winning, in any arena of life, is the natural result of alignment with truth. This is the first and most fundamental principle of winning the lottery every time. You must know, with unshakable conviction, that abundance is already yours by divine right. Not as a future possibility, but as a present reality in the invisible realm, waiting only for your recognition and acceptance. With this foundation firmly established, you are now ready to discover the specific principles that will make winning, whether in a literal lottery or in the greater game of abundant living, not just possible, but inevitable. In the realm of divine law, nothing happens by chance. There is a perfect pattern, a divine blueprint for the manifestation of every desire. This includes the manifestation of lottery winnings or any other specific form of abundance you seek to experience. This perfect pattern exists in what some call the fourth dimension, the realm of perfect ideas, the invisible plane where all manifestation begins. Before anything can appear in your physical experience, it must first exist in this realm of pure potential. Your task is not to create abundance. It already exists in infinite supply. Your task is to align yourself with the perfect pattern of its manifestation in your specific experience. This alignment is not a matter of chance or luck. It is a science, operating with mathematical precision according to divine law. The key to this alignment lies in your imagination, that magnificent faculty that connects you directly to the realm of pure potential. Your imagination is not just a mental playground. It is a creative powerhouse, a direct line to the infinite intelligence that governs all manifestation. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. This ancient wisdom reveals the creative power of your inner vision. When you can see yourself as already having received your good, when you can feel the reality of it in the depths of your being, you are aligning with the perfect pattern of its manifestation. Consider the remarkable story of Cynthia Stafford, who in 2007 won a $112 million lottery jackpot. But what makes her story extraordinary is not just the win itself, but the process that preceded it. For months before purchasing the winning ticket, Stafford engaged in a specific visualization practice. She would imagine herself winning exactly $112 million, not just any jackpot, but that specific amount. She visualized how it would feel to win, imagining the details of receiving the check and experiencing the emotions of financial freedom. She didn't just do this once or twice. She made it a daily practice, immersing herself in the feeling of already having won. And when she did win, the exact amount she had visualized, it was not a coincidence, but a perfect demonstration of alignment with the pattern of prosperity she had established in her consciousness. This is the operation of divine law. The specific amount Stafford visualized, $112 million, existed as a possibility in the realm of pure potential. Through her consistent visualization, she aligned herself with that specific pattern, drawing it into her experience with the magnetic power of focused imagination. You can apply this same principle to any manifestation, including lottery winnings. The key is not just casual visualization, but immersive imagining that engages all your senses and emotions. You must see it, feel it, taste it, touch it in your imagination until it becomes more real to you than its absence. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Your faith, your absolute conviction in the reality of your good, gives substance to it in the invisible realm before it appears in the visible. Speak this affirmation with complete conviction. The pattern of my prosperity is established in divine mind. I align myself with this pattern through the power of my imagination. What I can conceive and believe, I can achieve with certainty. Feel the truth of these words penetrating every cell of your being. This is not wishful thinking or positive self-talk. This is you consciously aligning with the divine blueprint of your prosperity, activating the perfect pattern of abundance that already exists for you. When you purchase a lottery ticket with this consciousness, not with desperate hope or anxious longing, but with calm certainty that you are simply claiming what is already yours, you transform it from a game of chance to a demonstration of divine law. The world calls this luck. Those who understand divine law call it alignment, and this alignment is available to you right now, in this moment, as you absorb these words and allow them to transform your consciousness of prosperity forever. Now we come to the practical application of these principles, the specific methodology for selecting winning lottery numbers. This is not about random guessing or following superstitious hunches. It is about tapping into the infinite intelligence that knows all things, including the exact numbers that will manifest as winners in any lottery drawing. This infinite intelligence, some call it divine mind, others call it the superconscious, is not separate from you. It is the higher dimension of your own consciousness, the part of you that is one with all knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding. There is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. This ancient wisdom reveals a profound truth. Through your connection with the divine, you have access to all knowledge, including knowledge that transcends time and space. The winning numbers for any lottery drawing already exist in the realm of pure potential. They are not determined by chance, but by divine law operating through the mathematical principles of the universe. And through your oneness with divine mind, you can access this knowledge, not through logical analysis or statistical probability, but through the intuitive faculty that connects you directly to infinite intelligence. Consider the fascinating case of Stefan Mandel, a Romanian economist who won the lottery 14 times using a mathematical formula he developed. While his approach was based on mathematical principles rather than spiritual ones, it demonstrates an important truth. Winning the lottery is not random when you understand the laws that govern it. But you don't need a PhD in mathematics to access winning numbers. You have something far more powerful, your direct connection to the infinite intelligence that knows all things. This connection operates through your intuition, your inner guidance system that, when properly attuned, can lead you unerringly to your good. The key to accessing this intuitive guidance is twofold. First, you must quiet the analytical mind that relies on external data and logical reasoning. Second, you must heighten your receptivity to the subtle promptings of your inner guidance. Begin by creating a quiet space, free from distractions and analytical thinking. Close your eyes and take several deep breaths, allowing your mind to become still and receptive. Then, with calm certainty, ask to be shown the winning numbers for the specific lottery you intend to play. Do not strain or force this process. Simply maintain an attitude of open receptivity, knowing that the information already exists and is available to you. The numbers may come to you as visual images, as inner knowings, as physical sensations, or through external signs and synchronicities. When you receive impressions of specific numbers, record them without judgment or analysis. Do not second-guess or rationalize. The analytical mind will always try to intervene, suggesting that what you're receiving is merely random imagination. Gently set these doubts aside and maintain your receptivity. This is not a process of making up numbers. It is a process of receiving numbers that already exist in the field of infinite possibilities. The distinction is crucial. One is fantasy, the other is alignment with pre-existing reality. Some people find it helpful to enhance this receptivity through specific practices such as meditation, prayer, or dream work. Others discover that numbers come to them during ordinary activities when the analytical mind is occupied elsewhere, while showering, walking in nature, or falling asleep. The specific method is less important than the consciousness behind it. When you approach this process with absolute faith in your oneness with divine mind, with unwavering conviction that the information is available to you, you create the optimal conditions for clear reception. Speak this affirmation with complete trust. Divine intelligence knows the winning numbers, and through my oneness with this intelligence, I know them too. I receive this guidance clearly, confidently, and accurately. I trust the numbers that come to me through divine inspiration. Feel the truth of these words as you speak them. You are not creating a new reality. You are acknowledging a relationship with infinite intelligence that already exists. You are simply removing the barriers of doubt and separation that have prevented clear communication. When you select lottery numbers from this consciousness, not from desperation or wishful thinking, but from alignment with divine guidance, you transform the entire experience from gambling to spiritual demonstration. You are no longer playing against impossible odds. You are simply claiming what has already been set aside for you in the divine plan of your good. This is the science of winning numbers, not a science of probability and statistics, but a science of consciousness and alignment with infinite intelligence. It operates with perfect precision according to divine law, available to anyone who understands its principles and applies them with unwavering faith. In the divine economy, timing is everything. There is a perfect moment for the manifestation of every desire, a divine appointment set in the cosmic calendar for the delivery of your good. This timing is not arbitrary or random. It is part of the perfect pattern of your prosperity, aligned with the highest good of all concerned. Understanding and honoring this divine timing is crucial to winning the lottery or manifesting any other specific desire with consistency and grace. It requires a balance of active faith and patient allowing, of passionate desire and peaceful surrender. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This wisdom from Ecclesiastes reveals a profound truth about manifestation. There is divine order in the universe, a perfect sequence of events that unfolds according to higher intelligence rather than human will alone. Many people miss their good because they try to force manifestation according to their own timing rather than aligning with divine timing. They demand immediate results, grow impatient when manifestation seems delayed, or give up just before the breakthrough moment arrives. The key to perfect timing lies in what might be called active patience, a state of consciousness that combines unwavering faith in the certainty of your good with peaceful acceptance of its unfolding according to divine order. Consider the remarkable story of Joan Ginther, who won 4 multi-million-dollar lottery prizes between 1993 and 2010. What makes her story especially intriguing is not just the multiple wins, but their timing. Each win came at approximately 7-year intervals, suggesting a pattern of manifestation aligned with cosmic cycles rather than random chance. While some have attributed Ginther's success to her background in statistics, she holds a PhD in mathematics from Stanford University, others recognize the possibility of a deeper pattern at work, divine timing operating through her consciousness in perfect order. The lesson here is profound. Winning the lottery consistently isn't just about selecting the right numbers, it's about playing at the right time, the divinely appointed time when all conditions are perfectly aligned for the manifestation of your good. How do you discern this perfect timing? Not through logical analysis or external advice, but through the same intuitive faculty that guides you to winning numbers. The divine intelligence that knows which numbers will win also knows when they will win. Both pieces of information are available to you through your connection with infinite mind. When you quiet the analytical mind and attune yourself to inner guidance, you may receive clear promptings about timing. A certain day may stand out in your consciousness. A specific lottery drawing may seem especially significant. You may experience what some call a knowing, an inner certainty that transcends logical reasoning. Trust these promptings. They are not random hunches or wishful thinking. They are communications from the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all manifestation according to perfect law. At the same time, release all anxiety about timing. Desperation repels, peaceful certainty attracts. When you know with absolute conviction that your good must come to you according to divine law, you can release the when to higher wisdom while maintaining unwavering faith in the what. Speak this affirmation with perfect trust. Divine timing governs the manifestation of my good. I trust the perfect unfolding of abundance in my life. My lottery winnings come to me with perfect timing, under grace, in ways that serve the highest good of all concerned. Feel the peace that comes with this surrender to divine timing. It is not passive resignation, it is active alignment with the cosmic forces that orchestrate all manifestation. It is you stepping into the flow of abundance rather than trying to force it according to human will alone. This balance of passionate desire and peaceful surrender, of active faith and patient allowing, creates the optimal conditions for consistent manifestation. It transforms lottery playing from anxious gambling to graceful receiving. Not occasionally, not sometimes, but every time you align with the perfect timing of prosperity. The universe is never late, never early, but always precisely on time with the delivery of your good. Trust this timing implicitly, and watch as the perfect pattern of your prosperity unfolds in ways more magnificent than your human mind could have planned. We now come to one of the most potent tools for manifesting lottery winnings or any other specific desire, the prosperity decree. This is a formal declaration of truth that aligns your entire being with the reality of your abundance. A decree differs from an affirmation in both power and purpose. An affirmation suggests a desired state. A decree establishes that state as present reality. An affirmation may help change your thinking. A decree transforms your entire consciousness from the deepest level. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This biblical promise reveals the creative power of your word when spoken with absolute authority and unshakable faith. A decree, properly formulated and expressed, creates a vibrational template in the invisible realm that must, by divine law, manifest in your visible experience. The effectiveness of your prosperity decree depends on several key factors: the specific language used, the consciousness behind it, the frequency of its repetition, and the feeling nature with which it is infused. First, your decree must be stated in present tense, absolute terms. Not, I will win the lottery, or I am going to be wealthy, but I am now the recipient of abundant lottery winnings. Or, I am a magnet for specific, life-changing prosperity. The present tense establishes the reality of your good in the now moment, the only place where creation occurs. Second, your decree must be spoken with absolute authority, not as a hopeful request to a distant power, but as a command issued from your divine identity. You are not a beggar pleading for scraps from the universe's table. You are a divine being claiming your rightful inheritance of abundance. Third, your decree must be repeated consistently until it penetrates every level of your consciousness. A single powerful declaration can create a momentary alignment, but consistent repetition creates a permanent shift in your vibrational signature, making you a natural match for the abundance you seek. Finally, and most importantly, your decree must be infused with feeling, not just intellectual assent, but emotional conviction that resonates through your entire being. It is this feeling nature that gives your decree its magnetic power, drawing your good to you with irresistible force. I invite you now to participate in a powerful act of creation. In the comments section below, write this decree: I am a natural winner, aligned with infinite abundance. This simple act does something profound. It establishes a vibrational template in both your consciousness and the collective field. It declares to the universe and to your own deeper mind that you are claiming your good with absolute authority. Writing this decree is not just symbolic. It is a tangible expression of your creative power. It moves the decree from thought to word to action, engaging multiple levels of your being in the creative process. And when others see your decree, it creates a ripple effect in the collective consciousness, amplifying the vibration of abundance for all. Now let's formulate a complete prosperity decree specifically designed for consistent lottery winnings. Speak these words daily, preferably aloud, with absolute conviction. I am now aligned with the perfect pattern of lottery abundance. The exact amounts meant for me flow to me with perfect timing and divine precision. I recognize and follow my intuitive guidance to the specific numbers and drawings that are part of my prosperity plan. My winnings come to me easily, joyfully, and consistently under grace in perfect ways. I receive this abundance with gratitude, knowing it serves the highest good of all concerned. This is the truth of my being, and I accept it now as my living reality. As you speak this decree, feel its truth resonating through every cell of your body. See yourself already in possession of your winnings. Feel the emotions of gratitude and joy that accompany this manifestation. Know with absolute certainty that the invisible pattern is already established and must, by divine law, materialize in your visible experience. This decree, consistently applied with unwavering faith, creates a vibrational frequency that makes winning not a matter of chance, but a matter of alignment. It transforms lottery playing from gambling to a demonstration of spiritual law, not occasionally, not sometimes, but every time you engage with it from this consciousness. The power of your prosperity decree cannot be overstated. It is the formal announcement of your alignment with abundance, the authoritative command that sets in motion the forces of manifestation. Use it wisely, consistently, and with absolute conviction, and watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the potential becomes actual, as your good flows to you in ways that may seem miraculous to those who don't understand the perfect law you're applying. A crucial principle that many overlook in their pursuit of lottery winnings is the law of circulation. Abundance is not meant to be hoarded or stagnated. It is meant to flow through you as a channel of blessing to others. This circulation completes the circuit of prosperity, ensuring that your good continues to multiply and expand. Give, and it shall be given unto you. This biblical promise reveals the perfect law of circulation. What you give must return to you multiplied, not as a reward for virtue, but as the mathematical operation of divine law. Many who seek lottery winnings focus exclusively on receiving while ignoring the equally important aspect of giving. They create a blockage in the flow, like a dam across a river that prevents the natural movement of water. This blockage inevitably restricts their good, regardless of how perfectly they apply other prosperity principles. The law of circulation operates with perfect precision in every area of life. In nature, nothing hoards. The sun gives its energy, plants convert it and give oxygen, animals give carbon dioxide in return, and the cycle continues in perfect balance. Each giving makes possible the next receiving in an endless dance of abundance. Your financial prosperity follows the same pattern. When you give freely, joyfully, and strategically, not from obligation or fear, but from a consciousness of abundance, you open the channels for receiving on the same scale. This is not mystical or metaphorical. It is the practical operation of universal law. Consider the fascinating case of Andrew Jack Whitaker, who won a $315 million Powerball jackpot in 2002. At that time, the largest lottery prize ever won by a single ticket. What many don't know is that Whitaker was already a successful businessman worth approximately $17 million before his lottery win. He was known for his generous giving to various causes, establishing a foundation for children in need prior to his win, and continuing his charitable work with his lottery winnings. While Whitaker's story included both triumphs and tragedies after his win, it illustrates an important pattern. The consciousness of circulation, of both giving and receiving, was established in his life before the massive lottery win manifested. He understood, at some level, that wealth flows to those who allow it to flow through them. How does this principle apply practically to winning the lottery consistently? It means that you must establish the circulation of your current resources, whatever they may be, before expecting larger prosperity to flow into your experience. You cannot hoard pennies and expect millions to find their way to you. The vibrational patterns are incompatible. This doesn't mean giving away all your resources or making unwise financial decisions. It means establishing a consistent pattern of strategic giving that aligns with your prosperity consciousness. This might be a percentage of your income dedicated to causes that inspire you, unexpected gifts that meet specific needs, or investments in people and projects that expand prosperity consciousness in the world. The amount is less important than the consciousness behind it. Grudging giving from a sense of obligation creates a consciousness of lack that repels prosperity. Joyful giving from a sense of abundance creates a consciousness of wealth that attracts more of the same. Speak this affirmation with conviction. I am a channel for divine abundance. Money flows to me and through me with perfect ease. As I give joyfully and receive gratefully, the circle of my prosperity expands without limit. Feel the liberation in these words. You are not dependent on lottery winnings to establish your prosperity. You are already in the flow of abundance, expressing at your current level and expanding continuously as you maintain the circulation. When you purchase lottery tickets from this consciousness, not as a desperate attempt to escape lack, but as one of many channels through which abundance can flow to you, you align yourself with the perfect pattern of winning. You become a natural match for the very frequencies of prosperity you seek to experience. The circulation of abundance is not just a spiritual principle, it is a practical strategy for winning the lottery every time you play. It completes the circuit of manifestation, ensuring that what you visualize internally can materialize externally without obstruction. Give freely, receive gratefully, and watch as the mighty river of abundance flows with increasing power through every area of your life, including consistent, divine right lottery winnings that come to you with perfect timing and in perfect ways. We arrive now at the culmination of all these principles, the ultimate strategy for winning the lottery every time you engage with it. This strategy integrates all the elements we've explored into a cohesive approach that transforms lottery playing from gambling to spiritual demonstration. The foundation of this strategy is your consciousness, your absolute knowing that abundance is your divine right, that the perfect pattern of your prosperity already exists in the invisible realm, and that you are one with the infinite intelligence that guides you to your good with perfect precision. From this foundation, the strategy unfolds in specific, practical steps that anyone can apply, regardless of their current financial circumstances or past experiences with lottery playing. First, establish a daily practice of immersive visualization. See yourself not just winning the lottery, but living the life that lottery winnings make possible. See the specific amount in your bank account. Feel the emotions of financial freedom. Experience the joy of blessing others with your abundance. Make this visualization so real, so vivid, that it becomes more tangible to you than its absence. Second, formulate and consistently declare your prosperity decree. Speak it aloud daily, preferably multiple times, with absolute authority and emotional conviction. Let it penetrate every level of your consciousness until it becomes the dominant vibrational pattern of your being. Third, establish the circulation of your current resources, creating a clear channel for greater abundance to flow into your experience. Give strategically, joyfully, and consistently, knowing that what flows out must return multiplied according to divine law. Fourth, attune yourself to divine guidance regarding specific numbers and timing. Create regular periods of quiet receptivity wherein you can receive clear, intuitive promptings from the infinite intelligence that knows all things, including the exact coordinates of your prosperity in time and space. Fifth, play the lottery from a consciousness of already having won. Not from desperation or anxious hope, but from calm certainty that you are simply going through the physical motions that correspond to what has already been established in the invisible realm. Sixth, maintain an attitude of gratitude regardless of immediate results. Gratitude is not just a virtuous response to receiving. It is a magnetic force that draws more good into your experience. Give thanks for your winnings before they materialize in physical form, knowing that your gratitude accelerates their manifestation. Finally, persist with unwavering faith, regardless of temporary appearances. Understand that manifestation unfolds according to divine timing, not human impatience. What appears as delay is often divine positioning, arranging all conditions for the perfect expression of your good in ways that serve the highest benefit of all concerned. This integrated strategy, consistently applied with absolute conviction, aligns you so perfectly with the vibrational frequency of prosperity that winning becomes your natural experience, not as an occasional stroke of luck, but as the consistent operation of divine law through your consciousness. Remember the words of the psalmist, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." This is not a religious platitude, but a revelation of universal law. When you align yourself with the divine pattern of your prosperity, when your delight is in the perfect law rather than anxious striving, your desires must manifest. It cannot be otherwise. Speak this final affirmation with complete conviction. I am perfectly aligned with lottery prosperity. Every ticket I purchase is a winner in divine mind before it manifests in physical form. I claim my winnings with calm certainty, knowing they come to me by divine right, under grace, in perfect ways. Feel the absolute truth of these words. They are not wishful thinking or positive affirmation. They are the declaration of what is already established in the realm of pure potential, waiting only for your recognition and acceptance to manifest in visible form. The transformation is complete. You have moved from uncertain hoping to certain knowing, from anxious gambling to spiritual demonstration, from occasional winning to consistent prosperity. You have discovered how to win the lottery every time you engage with it, not through manipulating external conditions, but through aligning with the perfect pattern that already exists for your abundant good. This is your divine inheritance. Claim it now with absolute conviction, and watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the potential becomes actual, as your prosperity manifests with a precision and magnitude that may seem miraculous to those who don't understand the perfect law you're applying. The time for limited thinking is over. The era of lack consciousness is finished. From this moment forward, you move through life as one who knows the truth, that abundance is your natural state, that prosperity flows to you by divine right, and that winning is not occasional luck, but your consistent experience under grace in perfect ways.